Good evening, everyone. This is the City of Dania Beach regular meeting. It is 7:02 p.m. and I call this meeting to order. City Clerk, if you would please call the roll.
Mayor Davis.
Here.
Vice Mayor Slavino.
Here.
Commissioner Llewellyn.
Here.
Commissioner Romoli.
Here.
Commissioner Ryan. City Manager Candido Sosa Cruz.
Here.
City Attorney Eve Boutsas. Here. Mayor, you have a
Thank you so much, City Clerk. And if everyone could please bow your heads for a moment of silence. Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. City Attorney, if you would please read our statement of decorum.
Yes, Mayor. Individuals who wish to make any citizens' comments under that portion of the City Commission agenda or who otherwise want to address the City Commission must first be registered with the City Clerk. The forms are available outside of the City Commission chambers and must be given to the clerk before the meeting. Others who want to address the Commission on any matters must first be recognized by the Mayor. All such persons must use the podium in the Commission chambers, no more than one person to speak at any time. The comments are only to be made to the City Commission as a whole and are not to be directed to the audience or City staff. No individual shall make any slanderous or unduly repetitive remarks or engage in any other form of behavior that disrupts or impedes the orderly conduct of the meeting as determined by the Mayor. The Mayor often allows applause during ceremonial or celebratory portions of the meeting, such as proclamations, presentations, awards, or public safety recognitions, as these are not action items and are intended to honor individuals or events. However, to safeguard an orderly meeting and to preclude intimidation of speakers on agenda items or designated public comments, the Mayor ordinarily precludes clapping, applauding, heckling, or verbal outbursts during those portions of the agenda. Based upon the foregoing, no individual may speak directly to or address the Mayor, City Commission, or staff. Comments are to be addressed directly to the Commission as a whole. No clapping, applauding, heckling, or verbal outbursts in support of or opposition to a speaker or his remarks shall be permitted. No signs or placards are allowed in the meeting. If any person conduct as determined by the Mayor is found to be disruptive or interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting, the person may be asked by the Mayor to leave the Commission chambers. If the person does not leave and the conduct persists, the City Police Department will be requested to escort the individual from chambers. All cell phones are to be silenced during the meeting. All persons exiting the chambers shall do so quietly. Thank you.
Thank you, City Attorney. Now we have presentations and special event approvals. We have, okay, I do have a presentation, but I also have a special request from the proclamations. We have Hispanic Heritage Month by Commissioner Llewellyn, Hunger Action Month by Commissioner Romoli, National Diaper Need Awareness Week by Mayor Davis, Childhood Cancer Awareness Month by Mayor Davis, Roderick Brown, Life and Legacy, sponsored by Commissioner Ryan, and Ladies Let's Go Fishing Day, sponsored by Mayor Davis. So do I have approval for all of those? Okay. And then we do have the proclamation ready for the family of Roderick Brown, and they are here, so I'm just requesting that the Commission allow me to read the proclamation while they're here so that they can have that. Okay. All right, family. You guys can come up. I'm going to read it, but you can come on up. You can come on up because we're going to take a photo and thank you for his service. Whereas the City of Dania Beach proudly recognizes Roderick "Rod" Brown for his years of service to the city and its community, during which his kindness, commitment, professionalism, and genuine passion for serving others made a lasting and meaningful impact on countless residents, families, colleagues, and friends throughout Dania Beach. And whereas Roderick Rod Brown began his service with the City of Dania Beach on September 10th, 2007, over the course of 19 years, he faithfully served the residents of Dania Beach with distinction as a part-time recreation assistant, full-time recreation leader, and full-time recreation attendant at C.W. Thomas Park, leaving a lasting mark on generations of families who enjoyed the programs and facilities he helped and made welcoming and vibrant. Whereas, beyond his service to the city, Rod generously gave his time, talents to the City of Dania Beach community. Since 2017, he served as a mentor, a coach for the Dania Beach Dolphins, inspiring and encouraging young athletes both on and off the field, while helping shape the character and the confidence of future generations. And whereas throughout his years of service, Rod exemplified the highest ideals of public service, his unwavering commitment, positive spirit, genuine compassion earned him the admiration and respect of his fellow employees, city leadership, and many residents whose lives he touched. And whereas Rod was known for his integrity, professionalism, and willingness to go above and beyond in every task, he approached each day with enthusiasm, humility, and a warm smile, creating a welcoming environment at C.W. Thomas Park, and fostering lasting friendships with co-workers and members of the community. And whereas Roderick Rod Brown's legacy of service, mentorship, kindness, and dedication reflects the very best of public service, and his 19-year career to the City of Dania Beach have made a lasting and meaningful impression on his coworkers, residents, family, and the community he proudly served. And whereas the City of Dania Beach proudly recognizes and honors Roderick Brown for his extraordinary 19 years of dedicated service, his unwavering commitment to the community, and the positive influence he made throughout his career with the city, leaving a legacy worthy of appreciation, celebration, and lasting recognition. Now, therefore, on the behalf of the City of Dania Beach Commission, I, Joyce L. Davis, Mayor of the City of Dania Beach, Florida, do hereby proclaim August 25th, 2026 as Roderick Rod Brown Day in the City of Dania Beach. We express our deep gratitude for his life of public service, and we thank you for sharing him with us for the 19 years. Commissioner Ryan, would you like to say something since this is your proclamation?
Sure. I know we normally don't do this when somebody passes away, but Rod was a really big part of Dania Beach staff, and he was a big part of the local community as a football coach. So, you know, his years of service to the city have not gone unrecognized, and this is just a small token of our appreciation. But, you know, the mentorship and him, you know, helping grow these young men out on the football field really had an impact on the community. And, you know, we wish nothing but the best for his family and for his son, who's moved over to California, I hear. So best of luck to him on his future endeavors. And we just wanted to thank Rod for his love and his compassion to the city of Dania Beach. Really appreciate him. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you want to say a couple words? A few words from the family? Yes.
Yes, thank you. My name is Natisha. I'm here with my family. I have my cousins and my aunts with me. We would like to thank the mayor, the commissioners, city staff, Rod's co-workers, the community of the city of Dania Beach, and everyone who helped make this special recognition possible. Your continued love and support have truly touched our hearts. Rod may no longer be with us physically, but his smile, his service, his love for the youth, and the impact he made throughout Dania Beach will live on forever. With sincere gratitude, the Brown family, we thank you.
You want us to? Yeah, it's a lot of that. Okay, thank you, Commission, for that special exception. Certainly deserving, the family. Next, we're going to go to the addendum item 3.1, which is a presentation for the public art program. I think if we're ready to go, Ralph.
We have 3.2 is the
Oh, let me see.
presentation of school.
Yeah, I know, but we had a discussion about it.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Are we ready to go? Okay.
Good evening. Can everyone see the presentation?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Linda, let everybody know who you are and how you work
No,
with
yes,
us.
yes.
Okay, okay, good.
So, good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the Commission, City Manager, and staff. My name is Linda Flynn. I am a partner with Cultural Planning Group, and we help assist managing the public art program for the city. So thank you for the opportunity to do this brief presentation tonight. It's really an honor to bring you this 5-year review of the public art program, tracing its growth through 2022 through today. So tonight's review is going to show you what the city has built in the last 5 years, what the program has produced, and for residents and for visitors, and where it's headed next. So what stands out for us is the speed and completeness of the setup. The city activated a dedicated funding mechanism, seated an advisory board, adopted formal guidelines, and implemented a professional collection management platform. Many municipal art programs phase these pieces in over many years, often starting with acquisitions before governance and policy catch up later. So Dania Beach has built the infrastructure first, which is a large part of why the program has been able to move quickly. So many pieces in the collection arrive through different paths. So of direct purchase, private development, a corporate foundation, sponsorship, and an award-winning mural by renowned artist Ernesto Morange. So the program is drawing on several funding sources and relationships at once, which gives the city more than one way to keep the collection growing, even when one single avenue slows down. So the murals on this slide were largely funded by sponsors and private businesses rather than the city general fund. That is the model working as intended. Dania Beach gains a growing visible public art footprint across the city, while local businesses gain a distinctive storefront and the city gains a stronger identity. What else is important is really extending the reach of the program. So for 3 consecutive years, the city has been sponsoring the Ignite Art and Light Festival, which started with the public art program, completed a partnership with the Community Foundation of Broward with Say Adams, a renowned artist with the Lead with Love mural, and a pending cost share through Broward County City Partnerships Program. They all point to the same conclusion, that regional organizations and institutions are choosing to invest in Dania Beach's public art program. For a city of your size, that level of outside interest is uncommon, and it reflects well on the program that the commission has supported. And also development is giving back. As you know, this public art exists because of a policy decision the commission made when the public art ordinance was adopted. Private developers are meeting a public art obligation as part of doing business here, and the city receives new art with no draw on the general fund. It is the ordinance doing exactly what it was designed to do. And what's very important is protecting the investment. So this is really where Dania Beach separates itself from many young public art programs. And we work across the country with municipalities. And your program is still very young. A 5-year program commonly spends its energy on acquisition and only turns to maintenance and conservation once there are major problems. So Dania Beach has already completed a full condition review of every piece in the collection, identifying need and acting upon it. So this level of stewardship discipline is one that programs twice the age often still lack. So just a word on context. Public art ordinances nationally commonly require developer contributions in the range of 1 or 2% of eligible project costs. Dania Beach's ordinance sets that requirement in 0.5% or 0.25% paired with artwork. So it's a lighter obligation than many peer cities. But even with this lighter mechanism, the program has built a fund approaching $1.7 million. You've added major sculptures, reviewed and approved numerous murals, and secured art through 4 private development projects. So that output relevant to the funding structure really reflects the active work by the board and the staff and the commission to bring sponsorships and partnerships rather than relying on the ordinance itself. So looking ahead, we have 4 initiatives already in motion. The Ocean in a Drop mosaic will be a significant piece by internationally recognized artist Sonata Ka, with its reveal planned in October at the Day After Dark celebration. The Buoy Beacon program will turn everyday infrastructure into a distributed, low-cost public art network across the city. Bike rack expansion brings functional art into daily use. And also the Creative Visions keeps a pipeline of new commissions by national and, more importantly, by local artists. So it really fits with national best practice for public art, that the variety of art, the variety of artists, and the variety of thought are very important. It's what Dania Beach program is focusing on. So you all have built a public art program with real infrastructure, with a growing collection, with active regional partnerships, and a clear plan for what comes next. So on behalf of our firm that has been working with the city since 2022, it's really been an honor working with staff, with Mayor Davis as the commissioner liaison, the Public Art Advisory Board, artists, and most importantly, the community of Dania Beach. So we thank you and I'm sure Dania Beach residents thank you for continued support of the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you so much for that comprehensive report there. I believe, as you know, tonight is especially meaningful because our public art plan that was unanimously adopted is supposed to be revisited every 5 years. And so, did we cut her off?
No, I'm here.
Okay, there
I
you
can
go.
hear you. Yeah.
It's supposed to be revisited every 5 years. And in your assessment, in your role as a consultant, you've been with us since the inception. Has that been successful? And what would you measure that by?
Well, I don't have the public art plan in front of me, but I do agree that looking at a plan every sometimes plans are 10 years, sometimes they're 5 years, and circumstances change. So the flexibility of the plan and being able to review it, make edits, or do an update of the plan is going to be very critical to the program.
Okay, and to this point, how would you, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you describe the implementation of the program from the vision to where we are now?
Wow, you're putting me on the spot. Again, without the public plan right in front of me and looking at everything, I would say probably, at least an 8.
Okay, so
The
overall,
staff has done a really good job. Mhm.
okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Flynn, for your review of the public art plan for over the past 5 years. It is very important to have subject matter expertise when we talk about public art. Thank you so much for your presentation. And next,
Thank you.
thank you so much. Thank you. And next, we will go to item 3.2, I believe is BCS Superintendent presentation. If we could have the presentation and welcome our wonderful school board staff. Please come up and introduce yourself. We always love to have Broward County Public Schools in the house.
Good evening. Thank you so much. I'm Angela Fulton. I'm the Deputy Superintendent. I'm going to let my colleagues also introduce themselves before we start.
Awesome.
Good evening. I'm Debbie Hickson, one of the countywide school board members, and happy to be here tonight.
Good evening. Happy to be here. I'm Valerie Wanza, the Chief Strategy and Operations Officer.
Thank you. So good evening again, and good evening, Mayor, good evening, Commissioners, City leadership, and also good evening to the great residents of Dania Beach. We want to thank you for this opportunity to be here tonight. For our main goal tonight is just really to come to share some factual information about the next generation referendum that is going to appear on the ballot on November 3rd. I want to share this particular disclaimer as employees of Broward Schools. Our job here tonight is just to share information, provide any clarity or answer any questions that anyone may have. Our role is not to advocate for or against the measure, just to provide factual information. But before we go into that, it actually gives us great pleasure to share just a little bit about Broward County Public Schools. We're very proud of how our students, our staff, our communities have been progressing over the last few years. Most particularly, Broward County Public Schools, for those that don't know, for the last 3 years have been rated as an A school district 3 years in a row. Thank you. In addition to that, also, the next congratulations really goes out to our schools. We have done an amazing job eliminating all of our DF schools, not for 1 year, not for 2 years, but 3 years in a row, we have eliminated all of our DNF schools. In addition to that, we have coming off a record school year last year with recording the highest graduation rate. And I'll give you 2 metrics for all of our traditional high schools. That is our high schools that are 9 to 12. 97.5% of our students graduated, walked across the stage in the 4 years. But also we have a graduation rate, which is still high. This is inclusive of all charter schools in Broward and also our non-traditional schools. That graduation rate is 91.4%. Also, we are #1 in the state in funding in terms of our students having access to rigorous courses and being able to pass those courses for having that opportunity. We're #1 in the state, and that means our students are enrolling in large numbers in all of our AP classes, our IB classes, our ACE Cambridge classes, and also passing industry certifications, meaning many of them are graduating from high school able to walk into a career already set because of the opportunities that they've had in high school. And additionally, the other thing that was just bestowed upon us, that really we're very humble with being recognized internationally by Cambridge, by being the Cambridge Large District of the Year. That's not a Florida recognition, that is a national recognition for Broward County. Just want to share a little bit by the numbers with Broward County. We service over about 230,000 students in 325 schools. That's also inclusive of charter schools as well too. We're actually the largest employer in Broward County, almost having about 30,000 employees. And the one fact that we're very proud of is our last graduation class of 2026 walked out of the door with $617 million in scholarship money. In addition to our grades, we know district-wide, Broward schools 3 years in a row were A, but also what that looks like when it comes to all of our schools across the district. If you look at a 4-year trajectory on how our schools have progressed, so over 4 years, as you can see, we've done a great job increasing the number of A schools from 4 years ago to I think about 56, and now we ended the year with 129. And while we increased our A schools, we significantly decreased our C schools, which 4 years ago we had 99, and right now we have 27. And again, the same accolades I shared earlier, absolutely 0 DNF schools for 3 years in a row. And this kind of shows you a little bit of the progression, the up and the down. And we're continuing wanting to climb. One of our goals is excellence is our standard. And while we don't have 100% of schools are A, we have 87% of our schools are A and B. And actually our goal is to make sure all of our schools are A schools for all of our students and all of our learners. And that becomes our work every single day. And we thank our teachers for the work that they do, our parents for the support that they provide, but most importantly for the community, for the support that you provide to our schools every single day. And again, we're proud to have 3 schools that we serve in your city. We have Collins, we have Dania Elementary, we also have Olson. And so I'm going to now turn it over to our school board member Hickson and Dr. Wanza that is going to go into a little bit more detail about the next generation referendum.
So just at a glance, historically, the voters are used to seeing this measure in the primary election, but because of statutory regulations, the measure will come before the voters in the general election in November. And what the community needs to know more than anything is that we are at the measure is looking for a renewal of an existing 1 mil that we currently already have been awarded, if you will, for lack of a better term, by the residents. And if the measure passes on the ballot, it will become effective for the 27-28 school year. What's most important is that when the taxpayers make this kind of investment in the schools, the dollar amount is just over $358 million across all Broward County public schools, and that includes the charter schools as well. The funds are used primarily for teacher and staff compensation supplements, and Ms. Hickson's going to talk about that shortly. But there's also a carve-out specifically for school safety personnel, school safety measures, as well as the work we do with in the mental health space with our mental health professionals and mental health services that we provide. Again, as I said, this is a renewal of an existing measure that the voters have already voted for. It's been in existence. We are about to come on the end of the 4th year of the first measure, so this is really a renewal. It is not something brand new that we're asking the voters to consider. And so what do we use the funds for?
Thank you. And again, I want to reiterate, thank you for your partnership from the community and from the commission, City of Dania. We don't do this work alone, and we're really appreciative that we have this really good partnership. So what do we use those funds for? The main thing that we use the funds for is to retain and recruit high-quality teachers and eligible staff, because we know that Florida is not funded properly for public education. It's actually the 50th in the state for teacher pay. So in order for us to be able to retain teachers or get teachers to want to come to Broward County Public Schools, we have to be able to offer them some kind of additional compensation. And so the referendum money goes to increasing their salary in terms of compensation. And it's important to say it's a supplement, because if the referendum doesn't pass, then teachers and staff would not continue to get that compensation. It's also, we use it in school safety a lot of that money goes to fund the SROs, and that's one of the things that we partner with the cities on. Before we had the referendum, the district paid somewhere between $50,000 and $60,000 for SROs, and now with the referendum, we're right around $120,000. So you can see we were able to double it with the money that came from the referendum. And then we also have mental health services, helps to provide additional counselors. We've been able to add suicide prevention counselors, mental health district counselors, and things of that nature. So that's what we fund it for now. What are we going to fund it for in the future if it passes? Again, it'll be the same idea, teacher and staff compensation. 90% of the money will go to that, and then 10% will be split between the SROs and mental health. So you can see over 393 school safety personnel and $1.7 million in state-of-the-art software has been provided for school safety. $173 million went to compensation, and we've been able to provide 224 additional mental health professionals.
So we did want to make a certain distinction, if you will, between bond, because we know that a lot of the taxpayers hear a bond and a referendum. This is asking for the renewal, if you will, of the referendum, the voter-approved referendum, and it's around the millage rate, whereas the bond that we had a few years ago is actually a loan that the district actually takes out. We borrow money and we agree to repay over time. And so a bond is kind of similar to a mortgage. This isn't that. This is actually a referendum where if the voters approve it through their millage tax rate, then those dollars would come and we would use it for the exact reasons that we just stated. I think what is also important to note for us, and the importance as we educate, is that our neighbors to the north and the south, both counties do have referendums for this specific cause as it relates to compensation for educators and staff in schools. So this is the actual language that will be on the ballot. Again, I'm not going to read it, but it is to fund school employee pay, safety, and mental health through a $1 million property tax levy, and that is the exact language that the voters will see on the ballot. And Ms. Hickson already brought this out, but basically, if the funding is approved by the voters, 90%, at about 90% or more, will be for that compensation piece for teachers and eligible staff, and then the 10% is what will be used for the school resource officers, the school safety element, as well as the mental health program services and personnel. So this is one of the things that we do want the public to know is that our board, and I don't want to speak for Ms. Hickson and her colleagues, but our board is very committed to demonstrating how they are indeed good stewards of the taxpayers' investments in our school district and in our county. And so these are some cost-saving measures as a school district that we have taken over the last couple of years, recognizing the level of declining resources and how the system must adjust to those challenges as well. So over the last year, we have reduced 1,000 positions at the central office. This isn't the classroom teacher or the custodian or the cafeteria worker, the bus driver. This is 1,000 positions at the central office. And we do estimate in doing these types of cost savings when looking at staff and right-sizing our staff, an estimated recurring about $54 million in cost savings annually. We've made some adjustments to our healthcare options available to staff, which we hope to realize, or we're looking to realize, another approximately $46 million in savings. As we all know, over the last 2 years, the district has closed 7 schools. The board did have some courageous conversations today around looking at other schools. We're excited about opportunities that we may be able to realize here in the city of Dania Beach with all of the schools, but particularly an option that may be very unique and beneficial in one of the schools here, and we'll talk about that in upcoming conversations. And but collectively, we have looking at a total estimated savings over our cost-saving measures of just over $100 million. So for the taxpayer, the question is, so what would this cost me? So these are averages of what it would cost per year, and this is the average, not every taxpayer, because obviously your the value of your home is a little bit different, but this is what the taxpayers are currently doing right now. So on average for a home, it's about $418 for the year. A condominium is about $230 for the year. But again, the aggregate of the total benefit to the investment into the school district for teacher compensation and the other measures that we spoke of is that $358 million. That is the aggregate annually to be able to do all the things that we just talked about. I don't want to say that again. However, if it is not renewed, then there is a $358 million gap that the district would have to make some very serious decisions to decide how that's going to be mitigated. And if you have any questions, need additional information, this is where all of the information is available online, browardschools.com/referendum 2026. And I'll let our deputy close us out.
So thank you for allowing us the opportunity, and we're here to answer any questions if you have any. If not, certainly we encourage everyone to utilize the QR code to go back and be able to formally familiarize yourself, because you will find some additional information that we didn't share tonight. So thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you for that in-depth presentation. And we know how important, that renewal is. And I thank you all. And I guess you're like the elected officials. You can educate, but you can't advocate. And so how can we help you better educate? It's great that you are going to the commission meetings, but how can we help you better educate?
Well, thank you. And again, that's the partnership that we really appreciate very much. I would say share the QR code that we have in the website and talk about what would be lost if it was not voted back in, especially in terms of the compensation for the teachers and the staff. And I know we focus a lot on teachers, but staff includes cafeteria workers, bus drivers, teachers' aides, and those are positions we know as much as teachers aren't paid well, they're paid even less. So it's really important to understand we wish that we had a different avenue to be able to compensate them, and we are working on that. There's been a directive to give a 4% raise across the board this year, and we're working on that, but that's still not enough to live in South Florida, as you're all acutely aware, I'm sure. So that would be one way, definitely, and just be able to share with your residents the importance of where the money goes. And I would think the SRO piece is also a big part of what's important for your community, because that's a partnership where we're splitting the cost. And if we didn't have the referendum, we may not be able to continue that kind of partnership.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all so very much. Any other questions from the commission? Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Have a great
You have the best cameras. I look the best on your camera. Thank you.
You look amazing, Dr. Wanza. You look amazing. Okay. And next we have item 3.3, special event application, Parks and Recreation for our Dania After Dark series by our very own Frankie Lazo. Did I say it right? All right.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commission, City Manager, City Clerk, City Attorney. Happy birthday, Eve.
Happy birthday to our city attorney. Let's give it up to Eve.
So this is our annual Dania After Dark series that we're bringing forward for approval. We submitted through all the city departments for approval as well. We're running with 3 events this year. Historically, we'd have 6, but we have 3 this year. So we'll have Oktoberfest, which is October 10th. We'll have Light Up the Night, which is November 14th. And we'll have our Wine and Seafood event, which is March 6th. So we're just requesting approval from you guys to move forward.
Okay. Do I have consensus from the commission? Does anybody have any? All right, I think we have unanimous consensus, City Clerk. So thank you for that. We look forward to our Dania After Darks. Next, we have our administrative reports. City Manager Sosa Cruz.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Attorney, City Clerk, City Team, residents at home, and residents here in the audience. My name is Candido Sosa Cruz. I'm the City Manager. Before I get started with the Manager's report, I want to send my deepest condolences to our former City Manager whose mother passed away today. So please keep Anna and her family in your thoughts during this difficult time. Starting with the Manager's report, the city continues to make strong progress across public safety, infrastructure, parks, recreation, neighborhood services, and community engagement. Tonight I'll be highlighting several key updates throughout the city. Under code compliance, the Code Compliance Division continues to focus on maintaining the appearance, safety, and quality of life of our community. The code compliance officers proactively address graffiti, illegal signage, property maintenance concerns, and other issues impacting neighborhood and commercial areas. This month, we've received over 64 complaints through the Ask Dania Beach app, in which these complaints were promptly inspected by our code compliance team. The division also continues to work in partnership with our public services team to address bulk trash and nuisance conditions throughout the city. A total of 91 bulk notices were issued this month by our code compliance team, including 69 notices generated during a citywide sweep during the week of July 26. Under public services, they're currently working on the City Hall wind mitigation project, the fire station wind retrofit project, and the BSO substation generator project, which is anticipated to be completed at the end of this month. Under Parks and Recreation, the Parks team has completed the parks design for Chester Bird Park, and hopefully this park will be completed by April 30th of next year. It will be a completely brand new Chester Bird Park. Under C.W. Thomas Park, the opening of the new field at C.W. Thomas has also generated tremendous growth and excitement for the Dania Beach Dolphins youth tackle football program. This season, the Dolphins will field 6 teams competing in the Gold Coast Pop Warner Football League. The first games of the season were hosted at C.W. Thomas Park on August 15, marking an exciting return of youth football to the park and giving our community another opportunity to come together in support of our young athletes. C.W. Thomas Park also partnered with BSO Fire Rescue to host a Safety Saturday, which is a hands-on CPR class on August 8th. Community members participated and received valuable instruction in life-saving CPR technique. Our Dania Beach Ocean Rescue Team had an exceptional July and early August. Following the completion of the Junior Lifeguard Summer Camp, the team prepared for the United States Life Saving Association National Competition held in Fort Lauderdale from August 4th to the 7th. The Dania Beach Ocean Rescue Team earned an impressive 3rd place, marking the first time in the city's history that our Ocean Rescue Team has placed in a national or regional tournament. This milestone reflects the skill, professionalism, teamwork, and commitment of our lifeguards, coaches, and ocean rescue staff. So I want to go ahead and give the Ocean Rescue Team a big congratulations. Under community engagement, we recently had the Back to School Beach Cleanup, held July 30th as part of the Mayor's Keep Dania Beach Pristine initiative. We welcomed approximately over 250 participants. More than 90% of the available book bags were distributed during the event, where residents and families joined together to help care for our beach. I want to thank Mayor Davis for her continued leadership and commitment to keeping Dania Beach beautiful and pristine. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I also want to recognize our IT department. They received the Technology Achievement Award for the Storm Protection Grant Program, initializing and implementing technology that facilitated our residents applying for this grant. Thank you. And this past Thursday, August 20th, we held another successful core conversation at the Southwest Community Center. The meeting provided an opportunity for residents to engage directly with city leadership, ask questions, hear updates on projects and initiatives, and learn more about the work underway through Dania Beach. Our next core conversation meeting will be Wednesday, September 16 at C.W. Thomas from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. And last and definitely not least, I want to say a big happy 100th birthday to Ralph Squiglia. Originally from Queens, New York, Ralph has called Dania Beach home for more than 40 years. Ralph is a proud U.S. Navy World War II veteran. From serving his country to making Dania Beach his home, Ralph has truly lived a remarkable century. And I want to say happy 100th birthday to Ralph. And that concludes my admin report, Mayor.
Thank you, City Manager, for that in-depth report. And now on to our City Attorney.
It's always so hard to follow the city manager's reports. But on that note, I have no report tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, City Attorney. City Clerk, reminders?
Thank you, Mayor. Your next meeting is scheduled for September 14th, where you have a CRA meeting at 6 p.m. And then you have your first budget hearing / regular meeting following that meeting at 7 p.m. And then on September 24th, you have your final budget hearing and regular city commission meeting at 7 p.m. That's all. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, City Clerk. And we will move on to our public safety reports with our very own Captain Jason Tarala.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Attorney, wherever our City Manager is, and City Clerk. Good evening and welcome back from the summer break. So I'll start off, we had a very busy summer, but I can tell you that we've also had a very productive summer from the Sheriff's Office standpoint. As far as Dania Point goes, we did have 2 planned takeovers that we were able to successfully plan for. We were able to successfully shut down before those 2 operations even began. And we had those 2 incidents at Dania Point with 0 incidents at all of violence, any issues at all. This past Saturday, there was also another takeover event that was planned for 308 East Dania Beach Boulevard for a car show, a pop-up car show that was being spread throughout social media. We got word of it. We got ahead of it. We were able to shut it down right away. Those vehicles and those people decided to try to move over to Dania Point, which we were way ahead of already. So our Dania Point operation was already there. As they moved over to Dania Point, we were able to get them off of the property right away. So again, there was no issues at all, no takeover event. There was absolutely no obstruction to any of the business over at Dania Point. So again, that was 3 successful incidents that we were able to handle without any issues. We've had a spike in some burglaries and some auto thefts over in our southwest corridor. So we put together an operational plan this summer to address it. So I wanted to highlight a couple of really good arrests we've made over the last month to address those issues. Last week, one of our deputies observed an individual over at the 1500 block of Southwest 2nd Avenue. He was carrying a book bag, riding a bicycle without a light on it. After being stopped, he became very nervous and he ended up throwing something down and ran. After a brief foot pursuit, he was placed into custody and he was in his possession of burglary tools. He had felony narcotics on his person and was placed into custody for loitering and prowling, as well as the narcotics and possession of the burglary tools. Also in that same area last week, our deputies made a traffic stop over at Southwest 16th Street and Southwest 2nd Avenue. Upon making the traffic stop, they got the individual out of the vehicle because he had a suspended license. And once they got searched incident to arrest, they found a loaded Glock 27 .40 caliber fully loaded on his person, as well as felony narcotics on his person. Also in that same area last week, another one of our deputies made a traffic stop over at Dixie Highway in Southwest 2nd Avenue area. Upon stopping the vehicle, he smelled marijuana. We ended up having one of our narcotics canines come over. They sniffed the vehicle, and once a positive hit was made, we got the individual out of the vehicle. Narcotics were located. We placed the individual into custody for narcotics. And inside the vehicle, we also found multiple narcotics, as well as a fully loaded Glock 19 firearm underneath the passenger seat. And last but not least, this entire summer, we've continued to be proactive up and down the Federal Corridor Highway. We're continuing proactivity around the motels. One of our targets that we've been watching for the last month, we successfully were able to place him. Our CST team was successfully able to place him into custody last week. They watched him conduct a hand-to-hand narcotics transaction over at the Deluxe Inn, and we placed him into custody, and he had over 20 baggies of MDMA individually packaged for sales. So we're able to get him into custody and place him into custody for possession of MDMA with intent to distribute. And last but not least, we've done a lot of traffic operations over the summer. Just last week, we did nothing but a speeding enforcement operation up and down Griffin Road, because I've gotten numerous complaints for speeding. Throughout that operation, which was a one-day operation, we issued 63 tickets. 44 were for speeding, and the other ones were for other issues once we pulled over the vehicles. We're going to do one next week on Federal Highway, and then we're going to move to Southeast Fifth Avenue. This is something that myself and the city manager have discussed, so we're being very proactive as far as the traffic enforcement goes. We're going to do these operations every other week. We'll get together a team of deputies that actually want to be out there writing tickets, and we're going to put them in these areas where we're getting the complaints, where we can address our citizen complaints right away, and hopefully get the cars to slow down. And last but not least, I just also wanted to highlight that myself and the city manager, we've been very proactive dealing with a lot of the issues we have. So Sergeant Hernandez, who's one of my admin sergeants, he also has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to Marine. So for the first time we ever had in the city, he is also a dedicated Marine supervisor for us in the city. So a lot of the complaints we get now, whenever it's anything Marine related, Sergeant Hernandez deals with that directly. Myself and the city manager know we've been dealing with boats in the water, derelict vessels, complaints on the waterways. Anything we get, whether it's from the pier to our waterways, Sergeant Hernandez now takes it on. I send it to him, and he deals directly with the Marine unit to make sure we get the information out right away. Just when you got with me last week, 2 weeks ago, Commissioner, Sergeant Hernandez already got the information back to us right away on who was dealing with the boat, and he's going to continue to get updates with Hollywood to find out what's going on with it. So we now have a dedicated person to deal with Marine issues in the city. And that completes my report.
Thank you. Mayor, if I could.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Chief. Great presentation. A lot of the key initiatives that the chief is bringing up is information and feedback we receive through the core meetings. Through these core meetings, through this direct engagement with the residents, we hear about the issues in the waterways, where the chief immediately directs his team to investigate traffic in specific locations, Southeast Fifth, Griffin. This is feedback that we're getting directly from the residents. Corners where they need stop signs, we go ahead and investigate and implement stop signs. So these core meetings have a benefit to us and to the residents because we hear them directly and we're able to implement or go after what they want us to. So thank you, Chief, for bringing those initiatives up.
Thank you, Manager. Thank you.
Thank
Have a great
you.
night.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, City Manager. And we will bring up our very own Chief of Fire, Sergio Pellicer.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, and the great citizens and city staff, and the great citizens of Dania Beach. Never can forget the city staff. So the last couple months, June and July, were super busy for our units. In June, we received 690 calls for service. In July, we went up to 735 calls for service. As the city manager mentioned earlier, we continue working hard on our safety Saturdays. And our inspectors have also been busy. They're at 91.3% in their completion as far as plans and inspections. And public outreach. We have a mobile integrated health paramedic that goes around the city. And next meeting, I'll bring him up so he can actually explain to you what he's been doing around our city, and it's helping out. And the one quick thing that I have an announcement for all our citizens and everybody here, September 11th marks 25 years of that fateful day. So we have a commemoration. So if you could all please show up to our fire station at 8:30 on September 11th, that is a Friday. Please come and join us and commemorate that fateful day. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you for each year doing such a wonderful job with that service, and we look forward to commemorating the 25th anniversary.
Mayor, I want to say thank you to the chief and his team for the quick response that our firefighters had when a terrible incident happened. Could have been terrible, it didn't. There was a power outage at a nursing home, and where there was very critical individuals in there with machines, oxygen, and our firefighters were able to visit this nursing home immediately and start moving individuals to a facility that had air conditioning, because we all know during this heat and having an oxygen machine on, it's critical. It's life or death. And I want to say thank you, Chief, to you and your team for the quick work, for the prompt work, and for the hard work that your team did in saving so many lives. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. Give him a round. That timeliness is so important. Thank you for reiterating that, City Manager, and thank you again, Chief. We will move on to citizens' comments. Item 7, I do have several comments up here that I will just call in the order that I have received them. And then if there are any others, if you would like to speak and have not put in a citizen's comment, then I will, then you're able to do so at this time.
Did you want to point out that there's a public hearing on one item if they want to speak on that?
Yeah, which one is, I think 11.5, is that 11.5 or is it 12.1?
It's 10.1 and 10.
Okay. If you're here to speak on item 10.1 and 10.2, which is the Port 1850 LLC, we will reserve your comments for when we get to that item. But other than that, if you have just regular citizens' comments, then I will go ahead with that. So some of them have that one here. Stacy Lee Sherwood, are you for the item? To item 10, that's what I thought. Okay, Ed Stacker, he's for that one. Mr. Hollis, Aaron Hollis, are you here for that item or just general comments? Okay, please come and state your name and address for the record, please. Yeah.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Hollis. My address is 36 Southeast 3rd Terrace, Dania Beach, Florida. I just wanted to come up here and say, man, can we take the stupidity out of politics? Can we take the bullying and all of that out of politics? It's a new wave of leadership, like, around the community. I am a candidate. And all the bullying that's been going on this weekend, I've been seeing bullying towards you, and I'm not pleased, right? Again, there's a new wave of leadership in the community, and I have direct connection to the community. I'm thankful to the community for coming to my defense when these allegations were brought up against me. On the flip side of it, to be in this position right now, I did everything that they told my father to do. I picked myself up from my own bootstraps. Yes, I have a past. Yes, all that come with it. I get it. But I'm definitely willing and I'm ready to run this race with integrity. It's no diss to the candidates because they're not the problem. The problem is the past, the people of the past, the gatekeepers of the past. Again, I walked in here by myself. I didn't walk in here with anybody. I walked in here as a resident of the community. I am a resident of the community. I love my community. I love the leadership in my community. I'm definitely down, ready, and willing to work with everybody in our community. So I just wanted to make that note of it, and I just want the gatekeepers and I want the bullies. I want everybody to just get out of the way. Let this new wave of leadership come on in and take over, and we have some new ideas, and we have great leadership, tangible tactics, you know, we want to put down. So I thank y'all for hearing me. I appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Hollis. That's true. Bullying has no place in the chambers and in politics, but we know it does occur. Mr. Kirschgraber, can I please, would you please come up and state your name and address for the record, please?
Robert Kirschgraber, Treasure Coast Circle, Dania Beach. First and foremost, I'd like to apologize for my attire today. I had to go to work. I've been working all day, and I just made it here at 7:15. So please don't take this as a matter of disrespect. I'm here, I have to work, I have to pay my taxes. Thank you so much. One thing that I would like to thank the commission about and the city in general is I was very pleasantly surprised when I pulled into the parking garage about 2 weeks ago. And when I noticed in the parking garage that I now see a veterans parking sign that I advocated for, and I also see a bench. And I want to thank you all for that. It was very important to me, and I think it's very important to recognize our veterans and give them the opportunity to come and just reflect peacefully there. So I do thank you all for that. The other thing I'd like to thank you for is taking on the big wheel in Washington to try to get a zip code change for us because, I'm getting ready. I'm going to be sending out Christmas cards here. Probably won't be this year that we get everybody in Dania Beach, but I'm tired of this Fort Lauderdale stuff. So I do want to thank you very much for that. I see lots of smiles up there, so I guess we're all on the same page. So I do appreciate that as well. I'm definitely unprepared tonight, but those are the two things that right now I wanted to speak on, and I wanted to at least acknowledge that, you guys came through, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Kirschgraber. And again, that's kudos to a lot of the core meetings as well, because I heard some of those comments during those times. So it is good that we have the Veterans Park and parking space and the bench and maybe some movement on that zip code. So with that, I believe those are all the citizens' comments that we have that are not related to item 10.1 and 10.2. Okay, so then I will move on to the consent agenda. No, let me see here. Yeah, it is, but I gotta get my right. Yeah. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Item 8, do I have any items that the commission wishes to pull from the consent agenda? Commissioner Ryan?
Yeah, I'd like to pull my item 8.4.
Pull item 8.4?
Yeah.
Okay.
With that, I'll approve the consent agenda.
Oh, sorry, were you finished?
No worries. Pull item 8.4, but I approve the consent agenda with that exception.
I have a motion from Commissioner Ryan to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item 8.4. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Llewellyn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. So then, Eve, if you would please read item 8.4.
Yes, Mayor. It's a request for the use of discretionary funds to support the City of Dania Beach's Dania Beach Dolphins football program. It is also sponsored by Commissioner Ryan.
Oh, sorry.
Yes. I wanted to pull this because, as the city manager said, our football program has grown exceptionally, and we ran out of football equipment, ran out of pads and helmets for the boys. So I wanted to use my commission contingency funds so they could have sufficient equipment to continue out the season. And, this equipment is used throughout the years. They just refurbish it every year. But also, I wanted to add to it, they needed practice jerseys. They're using jerseys, like old game jerseys, and those are really hard to put on and off every day for practice. So I wanted to add practice jerseys on that. It's an additional $3,750. My contingency fund it's $10,000 now, right? So I think I'm over, what is this one item? 1 second. I think I'm over by like $200-300. So I was just seeing if I could get somebody else's contingency funds just to complete that request and get them practice jerseys also.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's like a couple $100. It's not a big deal.
We got you. Hold on. Vice Mayor.
Yeah, Commissioner Ryan, I think that if you want to save a little bit of your contingency in case you have something else come up, I'm sure that the 3 or 4 of us would be willing to give you a little bit towards it in case another program comes up along the way. Because, I mean, I haven't hardly used mine. So, I mean, I'm willing to
Yeah, if you want, that
I
would
think
be
it, I
great.
mean, it just gives you something to use down the road if something pops up that's important that you don't have it for, so, you know, I mean, how much is the whole thing? $7,000?
Yeah.
I'd be willing to get 1,000 out of my
I just need $200 from the commission,
I'll
basically.
give you 1,000 on my contingency, that saves you some money for your next one.
Okay. All right, so do 82.
Hold on, City Manager.
Commissioner, I just want to confirm, I received this information from our CFO. You currently have $13,000 available.
I have 13,000 available?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Well, let's do that. Then with the, I'll do 8,200, and then we'll have 1,000 from Commissioner Llewellyn and Commissioner Salvino.
Okay.
And 1,000 from Commissioner Romali, so I'll do 7,200, and 1,000 from Commissioner Romali, Commissioner Llewellyn, and Commissioner Salvino. That sounds good.
And a birthday cake.
Thank you.
All right, so you got plenty of money. All right, let's,
Use it
so then we can go ahead and, hold on, do you want to do that, Commissioner Ryan?
With that, I'll make a motion to approve item 8.4.
Okay, do you have a second?
Second.
Second from Vice Mayor, all in favor say aye. Aye. All right, item 8.4 and passes unanimously along with the commission, the consent agenda. All right, moving right along to item 9, bids and requests for proposals. Item 9.1, Eve, if you could please read item 9.1.
A resolution of the City Commission awarding request for proposal 25-034 entitled Uniforms and Custom Apparel to Gold Coast Marketing Group, iUniforms, Inc., and the Players Connection, and to exceed the annual single vendor threshold of $50,000 for all 3 vendors, authorizing the proper city officials to negotiate and execute agreements, providing for conflicts and an effective date. This is public services.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commission, City Team. I'm Sasha Ramos, the Procurement Manager. So this item, if awarded, will award contracts to a pool of vendors to provide uniforms like our polo shirts, jackets, hats, those kinds of items to city staff. It'll also provide them at a discounted rate and ensure that all of the items that are purchased are in line with the city's branding guidelines.
Okay, any questions? Seeing none, thank you for your presentation, Sasha. And with that, do I have a motion?
Sure. Motion to approve item 9.1.
Okay, have a motion from Commissioner Llewellyn, Commissioner Romoli.
Second.
Have a second from Commissioner Romoli. All in favor say aye. All right, we have a new uniform vendor, passes unanimously. Thank you so much, Sasha. Next, we have item 9.2. Eve, if you could please read item 9.2.
A resolution of the City Commission authorizing the ITB 26-011 for the Community Development Block Grant years 49 and 50, the Oasis Neighborhood Improvement Projects to Her Homes LLC in the amount not to exceed $636,300, authorizing the city to exceed the annual vendor threshold of $50,000, providing for funding, conflicts, and effective date. This is a public services item.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Attorney, City Manager, City Clerk. This project will be a grant funding from the county. It will be a match funding. One of the grants is going to provide to us $177,000. The other will be $180,000 out of the $633,000. So this project will be basically for the sidewalk installation replacement, paving, driveway replacement. We're going to replace the existing paving driveway and put it new in pavers. So we want to improve the drainage and the runoff during raining events. It will be include new signage. Also, it will be improve the restoration of the interior area and complying with ADA in the sidewalks where it applies. The project will be along 5th Avenue, Southwest 6th Avenue, Southwest 7th Avenue, Southwest 8th Avenue between Dania Beach Boulevard and Southwest 1st Street. And for the year 50 will be Southwest 46th Place, Southwest 46th Court, Southwest 47th Street, and Southwest 27th Avenue.
Okay. This is not a public hearing. Hold on just a second. Do we have any discussion or a motion from the commission? Commissioner Ryan?
Motion to approve item 9.2.
All right, I have a motion from Commissioner Ryan. Do I have a second? Commissioner Llewellyn?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Llewellyn. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. All right, item 9.2 passes unanimously. And we are on, thank you, Oscar, for your presentation. And we look forward to using those funds, those matching dollars, for our neighborhood improvement projects. On to item 9.3. Eve, if you could please read item 9.3.
A resolution of the City Commission awarding the ITB 26-18, which was a rebid for portable toilet and restroom trailer to Friendly John, Duty Calls, and United Site Rentals, and to exceed the annual single vendor threshold of $50,000 for all three vendors, providing for funding, conflicts, and an effective date. This is also a public services item.
The following
I read it before, but I didn't compute until you said it out loud.
The resolution will be to renew the existing contract expiring October 2nd with three different companies that we're going to be used for our daily activities. The main user is going to be also the trader that is located at Dania Beach. So until we have the permanent bathroom installation and replacement, is going to provide the service for portable toilets with ADA compliance units with air conditioning. That's going to include deliveries, setup, and permittings, and the maintenance of all those portable bathrooms. And also is going to be used for any city events, recreational programs, program gathering, and emergency operation as needed for the city.
Okay. Thank you, Oscar. Do I have a motion and a second? Commissioner Llewellyn.
Make a motion to approve item 9.3.
All right, I have a motion from Commissioner Llewellyn, and then do I have a second? Vice Mayor?
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Liz.
Come on now.
Yes, ma'am, yes. Second.
I have a second from Commissioner Romoli. All in favor say aye. All right, any opposed say nay. All right, item 9.3 passes unanimously. And now we are on to item 10.1 and 10.2. We have quasi judicial public hearing items. Eve, if you could please read item 10.1.
If you don't mind, I'll read 10.1 and 2 so that they can be heard together.
Yes, please.
It's a resolution of the City Commission approving the Port 1850 LLC plat submitted by Port 1850 LLC for the property located at 1850 Northeast 7th Avenue in the city of Dania Beach. This is a community development item. Then we have a resolution of the City Commission approving the Port 1850 LLC site plan submitted by the owner, Port 1850 LLC, for the property located at 1850 Northeast 7th Avenue. This is also a community development item. As it's quasi judicial, I'm going to swear anyone who's going to be testifying. And also we need to do disclosures of the City Commission. Just as by way of background, in quasi judicial, all of the decisions have to be made here in the public. So any emails that you received, any meetings that you've had, whether it's with a developer, an applicant, the public in general, those are the communications that need to be disclosed. You've had previous disclosures, so let's do from May 26th forward, because that's since our last hearing that we had here, for any disclosures. And I know that there have been a number of emails coming around in the past few days. I have forwarded what emails that I've received to Mr. Stacker, so he's aware of those. So by way of background, the Monkey Sanctuary Council and people from that community have contacted us. Brenda Chalfour has contacted us, and all of that has been provided to Mr. Stacker. I don't know if there are any other communications you'd like to disclose. There's also, Corinne has a binder or a package, I believe, of all of those communications if anybody wants to see them.
I have a question, Eve. If we were getting part of those communications were improper notice and procedural deficiencies. And so can we just speak about that now, ahead of time, before, I want to make sure that we have the procedures down properly and what the issues were with those to be disclosed.
If you don't mind, let's do the disclosure first, so I make sure that I have that on the record for due process reasons.
Okay.
And then staff and I will give you that, an explanation, and then you can make some decisions.
Okay.
Are there any disclosures?
Any disclosures? I have disclosures. Well, I just emailed back and forth. I've spoken to Missy. I've emailed back and forth with the developer. I think once just to have a meeting, but then I ended up canceling it because there was so much other things going on. And then I think that's it since the last time. But I can remain impartial.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Commissioner Ryan?
Yes, I spoke with the applicant, the developer, and other neighbors and parties involved as well, and I can remain impartial.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Commissioner Llewellyn, Commissioner Llewellyn.
Yes, I spoke with Missy. I've spoken with Mr. Stacker. I've had numerous emails. I think that's it, and I can remain impartial. Thank you.
Vice Mayor.
I've received emails and I spoke to no one. I can remain impartial.
Thank you. Commissioner Romoli.
And I have also spoken to all sides, and I can remain impartial.
Thank you.
If the developer or anyone has any questions about those communications, they can ask you directly about that. Now, I know community development may have a little presentation on the due process, but I think I just want to give a little history, because I've been talking a lot about this, so I hope you don't mind. If you recall, I'm just going to give a little history to this project. So the project was scheduled for hearing on May 26th. And there was a problem with the posted notice in that it was placed on the wrong property. Okay, it was about a block and a half down the road. Because of that, the communications were had with the Developers Council and with Plant Community Development, and a proposed new date in June was proposed. It came to here on the 26th, and there was a lot of discussion about the notice, about what was going on, and ultimately, the attorney, Ms. Jorgensen, I believe, was for the Vervet project, indicated that he was going on vacation. He had this long planned vacation. Could the date be changed to the end of August, to this meeting tonight? The commission did do a motion in a second to continue the item to August 25th, excuse me, I should know my birthday, August 25th, which is today. By way of background, from my understanding, it was so that those notices could properly be done and to accommodate the schedule of everybody who has expressed an interest in this project. So the city application process indicates on the application and the backup that any notices that are to go out, there's an affidavit that should be prepared, and the affidavit just says, you've done the advertising, you've done the mailed notice, and you've done the posting. And it has to have certain information in there as when the mailing went out, to make sure it's timely, and it needs to be notarized and signed. And it's required to be done within 60 days. So the list of all the properties within 1,000 feet has to be created within 60 days of the hearing. So if the hearing's in May, it has to happen by April, okay? That happened. Then, because we had the mailing, the deficiency on the posting, all the mailings were supposed to go out, the advertising was supposed to go out again, and the posting, mailing, and newspaper is supposed to go out for this hearing. It did go out. There are some issues being raised about the posting notice and also the mailed notice, in that from my review of the code and the provisions of the application, the 60-day requirement was not met this time because it was using the same labels as it was from the April meeting. There was some attention brought to us, some information brought to our attention, about a property that had been sold in the interim within the 1,000-foot area. I know that Mr. Stacker has some arguments related to that, so we'll want to hear from him at some point. You'll also want to hear from staff. But those are the two main issues. So for you tonight, if you have concerns with these issues, they are due process issues, and it's for our process. It's not just for the developer, but it's also for our community. If you have those concerns, then you have to make a decision whether they're material enough that you either, want to have those notices redone, or for another hearing, or they're not sufficient enough and you want to proceed to the actual application going forward and have that hearing tonight. Okay? So, yes, did I forget something? Oh, I didn't swear anybody in. Good thing I don't have to be sworn in. Thank you. So, anyone who is giving testimony tonight, can you please raise your right hand? You don't have to stand. That includes anybody from the public who's going to speak. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And thank you, Candido. Okay, so Viviana, if you have something to say, and then we can go on to Mr. Stacker so he can speak as well. And we're going to keep it to just this issue right now, the due process. Once we deal with the due process issue and they want to continue with the hearing, then everybody can do their full presentations.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you. Okay.
So the city attorney really summarized it well. In May, we did the public hearing notice. There was a flaw on the posted property because the sign was on a different property. That was corrected for this meeting. The property was properly posted with signage. We went out to the site and confirmed that they were properly posted. In addition to, on the right-of-way, we had additional signage posted on the property as well because this property is set back from the street. But what was raised for this meeting is the 60-day update of the mailed notice for the 1,000 feet. So that's the concern that I think has to be addressed this evening, if you can determine if due process was met.
To be clear, several issues were raised. One of them was that the original affidavit that was in your files before the commission didn't have the date the notice was sent out. It just was a notarized signature at the end. It didn't give you the information that was required in the affidavit. The second part is the 60 days and the sale of a property, so we know that the list that went out this time is incorrect in the sense of it's a new owner of one of the parcels within the 1,000 feet. The third one was the posting notice, and I just want to bring to your attention that our code doesn't require the posted notice to, like, if it's vandalized or it falls off, that doesn't make the notice improper and have to continue the hearing.
There's not a certain amount of days that it has to be.
As long as they properly installed it, they can proceed on that one. And I think those are the three issues. So you may want to hear from Mr. Stacker, and you also may want to hear from the Vervet Project, Mr. Jorgensen and his company, because they're the ones who have raised the issues.
And we're still just on the process.
On the process. For the due process.
Okay. All right. So do we have, well, Corinne already spoke for community development. We can hear from Mr. Stacker on the procedure only. If you want to come and speak and state your name and address for the record and address the 60-day requirement and the process.
Mr. Stacker, how much time do you need for this one so I can make sure you have the time?
I have no idea. I'm gonna try to keep it pretty basic. It's pretty clear. My name is Edwin J. Stacker. I'm an attorney with Schutz & Bowen LLP in Fort Lauderdale. I have communicated by email with each of you, and the only exception I want to take to the city attorney's explanation of what happened is that on May 26th, this item was continued, and there was no discussion subsequent to that between staff and the applicant as to an additional requirement for notification. It's pretty clear that when you continue an item, albeit we objected to it being continued for almost 3 months, if it's continued to a time certain, to a date certain this evening, there is no need to send out letter notice. And in fact, your code provision provides for that. And it takes one exception and talks about a large-scale land use plan amendment. So our position is that even though there was a courtesy mail out to the 10 or 12 property owners who are within 1,000 feet of the property, that was a courtesy and it was unnecessary. To take it a step further, if you said even if, remember, no request was made of the applicant to provide an updated notice list, and we certainly had no reason to believe there should be. But there were 2 conveyances of Hertz-related property on Northeast 7th Avenue in December of last year, and those were updated because there had been a prior list, I think, for the community list. So that was those 2, and that's 2150 Northeast 7th Avenue LLC. In April, after that certified list was submitted and used for the May 26 hearing, in April there was another conveyance of a Hertz property to a new entity, 1950 Northeast 7th Avenue LLC. And that's the egregious violation that is alleged about insufficient notice to property owners. I say egregious tongue-in-cheek because, again, there was no requirement, and 2, the manager of the 1950 Northeast 7th Avenue LLC, the April conveyance, the manager is the same manager of the other 2 parcels, 2150 Northeast 7th Avenue LLC, that were conveyed in December. So there's, from my perspective, absolutely no harm, no foul, because that individual manager had proper notice before. I'm not even going to talk about the sign postage. I think the city attorney properly addressed that. And the other issue, the other allegation was about notice.
The affidavits.
Yeah, the affidavit. And Coutreau and Associates submits those on a very regular basis and always leaves that blank because the mail-outs go out from the city staff. They send the mailers out. So she sent me an email yesterday confirming that that's the routine way that they deal with it, because she doesn't know the exact date that the city's going to do the mail-outs. I'll be happy to discuss more, but I don't think there's any need to continue it at all.
You want to hear from Mr. Jorgensen? Yes, Mr. Jorgensen. Please come and state your name and address for the record.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the commission. I am John Jorgensen. Law firm of Scott Harris, Brian Barrett, Jorgensen, PA, and Palm Beach Gardens, 4400 PGA Boulevard. I'm here representing Dr. Missy Williams and also the Dania Beach Vervet Project, the Monkey Sanctuary, as it's been referred to. I have sent a few letters to the commission, probably too many letters, and have copied the city attorney on them related to this notice issue. And I did cite some case law in it. Well, first of all, the code requires the 3 types of notice. The mail notice, a mailing notice to within, the property owners within 1,000 feet, the publication notice, and then posting of the signs. And it's incumbent on the applicant to make sure they give the proper mailing matrix to make sure that the property owners within 1,000 feet are properly notified of it. The case law basically states that as far as providing notice, it's a procedural due process issue, and the courts have strictly construed and strictly required strict compliance to the notice requirements. It's the bright line test, and it's a due process issue, and that's why the courts have generally looked at it and said you have to have strict compliance with the notice provisions of a code when you're having a public meeting, especially a quasi-judicial meeting. So, and I've gone to some lengths to try to explain that in my letters to the commission and to the city attorney. The city attorney acknowledges that there was an error on the one mailing notice as to the new property owner. Mr. Stocker says it's the same manager. I have no idea whether it is or not. He says that, but I don't know if Mr. Stacker has any evidence to present or any documents to show that this particular manager is also the same manager for these other properties. Again, this is quasi-judicial. Look, my client, Dr. Missy Williams, is here. She wants to go forward. By the fact that she's here, she's waived her issue as to this notice requirement. However, anybody, unlike other standing requirements for zoning issues, a person has to have an interest that's more particular or more important than the average citizen. But on due process issues such as notice, any citizen in the city can bring an action, can bring a petition for writ of certiorari, challenging whether the notice was done correctly. And I know just in talking to people in the community and stuff, just because I've been involved in this situation, and someone's going to file a petition for writ of certiorari if this goes forward on this notice issue. And I'd hate to see that just cause a delay. I think the reasonable thing to do would be is just, look, let's do it correctly. Again, the city didn't do anything wrong here. It's just that the applicant, didn't quite exercise the due diligence it should have exercised. And the city's got itself in a situation here where there's a due process issue. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jorgensen. I will weigh in on the process and the procedures because if it has been, the 60-day requirement has not been met, then I want to make sure that we follow a consistent process for all the procedures for all of the city of Dania Beach. And so I have spoken to a resident who has mentioned litigation because the process was not followed according to the resident. So I will let Vice Mayor weigh in on that.
Thank you, Mayor. This can drag out for one reason or another every time that it comes up. The process, in my opinion, and if I'm wrong, the city attorney, you can correct me, but the process was followed. Everything was going along just fine. And the gentleman asked for an extended time because he had to take a vacation. I voted against it at that time. I wanted to proceed forward with this here because every time it comes up, there's going to be somebody that's not happy with this particular project, and it's just going to pick it out. The process was followed. It was ready to go. It was postponed. I don't understand why it has to be done all over again. If it wasn't for the city commission's vacation time, which we could have voted on this before that, and he didn't ask for that vacation. He had done it the day that it was done. That was thrown on us at the last second. I didn't think that was fair to the client, and I felt that we should move forward at that time. We gave him the leniency of having that vacation and bringing it here, and now they're asking it to do over again. I think that's unfair. I think the process has been met, and I think that we should move forward with the vote. That's my opinion.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Vice Mayor and I have spoken. Any other comments on this?
And if you don't have any comments, just in case anybody in the public wants to talk just on this issue of the due process, they can, but not on any of the substantive topics until you make a decision.
Okay. Oh, we got silence. Anybody else? Oh, Come and state your name and address for the record. Oh, yeah, I forgot we have these. Let's go with their comments, yeah.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. My name is Janine Rice. I am a resident of this fine city, and I also happen to be an attorney. I was a career prosecutor for many, many years in this county, and I will tell you that the best thing for anybody to do is to do it right the first time. And I would urge you there will be someone who will come in and who will take advantage of this. And I would suggest that you all conserve our resources as taxpayers and do it right the first time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rice. Anybody else on the process? All right. Commissioner Romoli.
Yes, Attorney Eve, what is the city's exposure in terms of the postponement for due process, or if we do not postpone for due process, and someone does come forward, what is our position on that?
Okay, so Mr. Jorgensen was correct that due process is one of those things that if you were entitled to process, you can come and challenge. So they would have to spend the money to file an appeal, which is, it's a certiorari appeal. Usually they're considered two different things, but in a land use case, it is an appeal through certiorari review, which means was due process provided, was there competent substantial evidence on the record to make the decision, and whether the correct law was adhered to. So if that happens, then we'd have to invest the time, go to court, have the hearing, an oral argument on whether your actions were correct. Either way, okay? I mean, anybody could appeal on the due process. An affected party who has standing would appeals on some other issue. Let's say you go to the merits. Could appeal on the merits. And basically, it's a decision by an appellate court. It's a 3-judge panel that decides what the decision should be, and then they remand back to you for another hearing. So it's a good year delay, maybe 2, if that process goes forward. The last appeal I did in Dade County took about 2 years to get heard. I don't know what it is up here. I haven't had one up here.
Okay. Hold on.
So basically what I'm hearing then is if we do not provide the due process and someone does come forward, we go ahead and vote on this item and it passes, and then someone challenges the due process, then that would make this project delayed?
At least a year to 2, yeah.
Okay. So it sounds like in the best interest of both parties, really, that we should follow the process as a due process, not risking the possibility that if it does pass, and I don't know if it will or not, it would delay that project even longer.
If somebody appeals,
If someone
that is
came
a
forward,
possibility, yes.
and that's an if. So okay, I understand now, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Romoli. Vice Mayor.
Okay, so I understand what you're saying. So if somebody appeals it, I could stop it for a while. Anybody, a resident, the landowners around it, anybody could file that case, is that correct?
If you appear at the hearing on a due process argument and you're here and you speak, you waive that argument. So, for example, if even though there may be a deficiency, if they've shown up, you have actual notice by being here, so that's not challengeable. But a person who is to be provided notice, which is within the 1,000-foot area, yes, they could challenge if they're not here on the due process issues.
So the people that have to be here within the 1,000-foot area, is what you're saying?
If they're not here
Yeah.
and they're within the 1,000-foot area and they're claiming a due process violation, and the violation that we're talking about here would be that a landowner should have gotten notice properly and didn't.
Okay, and why would a recess cause us to have to do a redo? I don't understand that there's
Recess?
A vacation that he called for, then we went into recess.
Well,
Because all that was done beforehand.
to be clear, on May 26th, there was a notice problem then, and we were going to have the hearing on another date anyway. Because that date was when Mr. Jorgensen was on vacation, you all basically said, okay, we're not going to take the date that was originally picked. We're going to pick a later date for this hearing to accommodate his attendance.
Okay. Mr. Stacker, can you come up? I have a question for you, please. I'm sorry? Can you come up? I have a question for you.
I didn't hear the question.
I just have a question.
Oh.
Okay. So my point is I just hate carrying stuff over. I like to get stuff done and get it over with instead of talking so much about it. Everybody should get their piece to say, and then we should pick out and decide what we want to do. What I'm asking is that when you processed everything the first time around before all our recess and before the gentleman asked for his vacation time, was everything in order? Was everything done? She's saying that May 24th that it wasn't completed. We would not have been able to do it before our recess. Is that correct?
Let me answer that the posting for the May 26th hearing was misplaced. It wasn't properly posted. But as it relates to, you have a newspaper ad, by the way, that goes in. You have a letter based on a mailing list, and you have the posting. And the posting was the only deficiency. The letter certification was based upon the tax roll information in March, predated the conveyances of the Hertz property. So the notice to the 1,000 feet for the May 26th hearing was proper. Again, I don't want to scold the city attorney, but your code provision specifically segregates sign posting requirements, mailing requirements, newspaper requirements, and we complied with the newspaper requirements. And when you continued this matter, doesn't matter whether it had been June 23rd, which is when we wanted it, or August 25th today, there was no need to do any additional updated mailing list.
Okay, so you feel comfortable that if we move forward with this, and if somebody wanted to do an appeal on that, and it's going to tie it down for a couple of years, you're okay with that, with us making that decision, whether we vote for it or against it tonight? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I just say you're welcome.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
But I'm in the process of questioning on it. That's why I felt.
Well, let's just
Excuse me, I
follow
didn't mean to
the
take your glory. I
process.
appreciate it. Good, Mayor.
Thank you so much.
My apologies, Mayor.
I just want to make it clear, and I think city attorney would agree with me, if there was a postponement, I don't think the applicant would have any issue, would be able to bring any legal action against the commission. It's simply a postponement of tonight's hearing. So I just wanted to make that clear. That's my position. I would hope the city attorney would agree with me on that. So that would be the safer thing to do, the reasonable thing to do. It would get rid of this due process argument. I also want to make it clear that this is a whole new hearing that had to be re-advertised, and the notice had to be redone. You can't rely on the notice that would have been done, for that May hearing or some other hearing before that or after that. This was a new hearing. The whole notice procedure had to go forward again. The code requires those three types of notice, and again, case law strictly construes the notice requirements. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jorgensen. All right. Vice Mayor, are you going to make a motion?
No, I'd like to discuss it some more, Mayor, please.
Go ahead.
I don't think this is a new hearing. I think this is a continuing hearing. I don't understand. I mean, there's different wording from two different attorneys, but, am I going to make a motion? I just want to make it clear that our commission understands that they're willing to take a chance on it, and whether your vote was yes or no prior to this tonight, if they're willing to take that chance and you're going to vote yes, and you vote yes. If you don't want the project, then you vote no, and let them deal with this position. Because, as being up here so many times, I I get frustrated with people that don't want something and people fight hard, and I appreciate they're going after it, but I think it's time that we start making some harsh decisions and move forward, whether or not it hurts, the client or it doesn't hurt the client, because that's our job up here, and not be, the signs have been up, they were up before, the mailings were done, this and that, and I mean, it's been done. It's just something else to put off this and bring it out to another meeting. So yes, Mayor, I'm making a motion, we pass item 10.1.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Do I have a second?
What was the motion?
To pass item 10.1. Oh, the procedure is the process, is the consensus for the process. Go ahead. Yeah, let's just make sure that the motion is clear
So
for
it'd
the
be a
city clerk.
motion
We're not,
to proceed and to reject the due process arguments.
Yes. Whatever I said, not what I said. I don't know. I'm confused now.
Is there a second?
do I have a second?
Yes.
Okay, all right, let's take that to a vote for the process, Elora, and we will start with Commissioner Llewellyn.
This is just about the due process?
Yes.
Then no.
Commissioner Romoli?
Yes.
Commissioner Ryan?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Salvino?
Yes.
Mayor
Yes.
No.
Mayor, the motion carries.
Okay. All right, so we will move on with item 10.1, the actual meat of the item, the moving forward. And take over for me for a second. I already know.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Viviana Batista, Planning and Zoning Manager. And tonight before you, let me make sure we are ready. Yes. We have both applications for the plat and site plan for the property located in 1850 Northeast 7th Avenue. This property, it's located in the existing zoning district as IG, General Industrial, and the land use is an employment center. The entire site acreage is 5.1 acres, and the existing property is vacant. At the moment, there are no violations on the property. To give you a better perspective of the location of the property is landlocked east of the airport, west of the port, and the only access is, the property address is 1850 Northeast 7th Avenue, and I'm so sorry, and the property access is through the property to the east. So some background on the property is at 3.5 acres of the site plan that it's environmental sensitive land designation overlaid on the property. And the applicant is proposing to amend to remove approximately 3.5 acres of the overall 21 acres of the ESL Site 97 map labeled 136 from the Broward County Natural Resource Map Series Environmental Sensitive Land Map. This request was reviewed by the Broward County Planning Council on May 22nd, 2025, and moved forward for the Broward County Board of County Commissioners and receive approval on August 21, 2025 at first reading. Then the request was moved for second reading for the Broward County Commission level on March 3rd, 2026, and it was denied. So some background on the plat, as I previously mentioned, this is a landlocked property and it will need access to the property to the east, which is considered a perpetual access in the plat from the east property and the west property as well. And the property to the west will allow access to from the property in question. So the site plan proposed before you today is for the construction of 62,340 square foot warehouse, including 16 loading bay areas, as well as 71 parking spaces. The applicant is also proposing to have a preservation of 1.3 acres, which is the square framed on the green frame to the east of the property. These are some renderings of the construction proposed or the project to be proposed.
And this is a timeline of the whole process that has gone through county level, state level, and as well as back to us today. We received the application October 6, 2022, and it has gone through all the process this year. And as previously established, the item was postponed from May 26, 2026, and that's why we're hearing about it today. Something I wanted to highlight is that the item went, the Broward County Planning Council changed the designation that is not required anymore, the ESL map amendment on April 14, 2026. So some of the items about this project is that the Article 250 from the Land Development Code requires that the development demonstrates any existing natural land area and must provide avoidance of any impacts and safe capture of any species on the property. The applicant provided a cumulative impact analysis report demonstrating that the existing wetland has been degraded and its habitat value is rapidly diminishing due to invasion of exotic vegetation. The applicant also conducted a Florida bonneted bat limited roost survey, and there were no bats or nests found on the property. The Land Development Code also identifies that the city may require proof of compliance with federal, state, county, and city wildlife protection measures prior to issuance of any building permits, as well as prior to issuance of certificates of occupancy. These items, based on the applicant's preliminary drainage report, indicates that the project will be designated to meet the city's enhancement stormwater interim design standards, and the site plan identifies 36% of land as pervious area, which the minimum requirement is 20% based on the Land Development Code. The applicant is also proposing to install drainage improvements within the installation of exfiltration trenches, drainage wells, and minor swell. Now, on top of that, on the resiliency efforts, the applicant also includes a mitigation work plan for on-site preservation, which includes enhancement of 1.29 acres of wetlands, approximately 31% of the wetlands on site, with annual evaluation of measurable success criteria. On top of that, vegetation control, data collection, monitoring frequency, reporting protocols for a period of 5 years, and maintained in perpetuity. In addition, the applicant will purchase 1.24 debits of saltwater credits from the Everglades Mitigation Bank for off-site mitigation. This item has gone through the Development Review Committee 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, yes, since October 25, 2022, until the last review we had on September 15, 2025. And although the applicant has several outstanding staff comments that are to be addressed prior to issuance of the permit. The DRC comments are listed as conditions of approval in the resolution on today's resolution, as well as the staff report. These items will impact our budgetary impact, and it will have public art impact fees and administrative impact fees, police, fire, and water and sewer impact fees as well. Just to notice, the public notice procedures, this item was duly advertised, mailed, and posted on August 10th, 2026, and city staff requested 2 additional signs beyond the Land Development Code requirement at the right-of-way. City staff inspected the site on August 11th and again on August 24th and confirmed the signs were installed properly as requested. The applicant also conducted a community outreach on September 12, 2025, and the notices were sent out within 1,000 feet buffer of the property. And on September 23rd, the applicant conducted a meeting via Zoom, where a lot of people from the community attended, and they voiced their concerns about the environmental impact caused by the project. Also, we received several objections, not only on October 25th, but recently through email about this application. This application supports the city's comprehensive plan, 3 policies from the future land use amendment, and 2 policies from the conservation element.
And as of tonight, the recent regulatory changes in Broward County have removed the ESL overlay restriction. Despite the Board of County Commissioners hearing regarding the map amendment, county staff, including the county attorney and department heads, advised the plat approval is now contingent upon the submission of an environmental impact report. The environmental impact report, used alongside Broward County Code Chapter 27, serves as the basis for environmental permitting. Given this framework, the application is clear to move forward subject to obtaining all final agency permits. Therefore, Community Development Department is recommending approval of the resolution for the plat and the site plan, provided that the remaining DRC comments are made conditions of approval and must be addressed before the issuance of a building permit, and further provided that the plat approval is recorded. And the applicant also has a presentation, and I'm available if you have any questions.
Mayor, can I be recognized for a moment?
I have a question really quick, and then we can go. I just want to clarify that the conditional approval is based on all final agency permits from the EIR report, which we do not have at this time.
Correct. And that is a condition of approval in the resolution.
Thank you, Viviana. Go ahead, City Attorney.
I think we were having a mind meld because I just wanted to explain one thing. The process is this. The applicant must come to the city for the plat and for the site plan. Once they're finished through our process, they then need to go to the county. Okay, so the reason I'm bringing that up is because at the county level is where they're doing the EIR and which is the Environmental Impact Report. And the EIR is part of the final step for plat approval at the county. So the reason I'm saying that is our code doesn't really address environmental. The county code addresses the environmental issues, and that is part of the plat process for them. If their decision on the plat is different from ours, and let's say it's not 1 acre as shown in the site plan, but it's 1.5 acres or 0 acres or whatever, that may be such a material change that would have to come back to us for modification of site plan approval and the plat again. Start the
So
process.
it's just going in another circle because it has to come back to us. Okay.
And of course, they have to complete the report and finish the report process, which is what they're doing. They have received comments from, and I understand I did reach out to Darby Del Sal, who's the head of that division. And he advised that his staff were reviewing the report. They had some comments, and I did copy all of the commission on that, the status of that EIR.
And it was my understanding from reading that they had until September 25th to put that information together. Is that correct?
I'll look at the email, or perhaps Mr. Stacker could address that. And also, Mr. Stacker, I did advise the mayor that you wanted about 15 minutes, including rebuttal. So I just wanted to let you know.
I will decide the time. Thank you so much. Thank you. We're good. All right. Let's let Mr. Hold on, Mr. Stacker.
He was the other applicant last time, so if you want to let him speak, I don't know.
I just had one question about the season. I apologize, you just told me I asked a few questions of staff.
Okay, you can have your question. Come on up, Mr. Jorgensen.
Wait, I'm sorry. I'll do it however you all want to, but isn't it now the applicant's opportunity?
It is. That's why I told you to go ahead and proceed. I was telling you that because it goes from our city presentation to the developer usually, and then it goes back to. So that's why I was telling you to go ahead, but I thought you were telling him to go ahead. So
I heard voices behind me, and I apologize.
Okay. All right. Good. Go ahead, Mr. Stacker.
Is this up on the? How do you?
Okay, we'll bring it.
Okay.
We'll bring it back.
We have with us, and I'm going to keep it shorter and sweeter, hopefully. We have the project team that's indicated above here this evening, except I don't believe the landscape architect is here. But we have where Malcolm has worked on the site plan since 22. Langen has been involved in the civil engineering that relates to the site plan and the environmental permitting at the county. Chappelle Group, Tyler and Gabe are here this evening. They've been involved in all aspects of environmental permitting and the submission of the EIR, and police is handling the plat, police land surveyors. What I wanted to do is just quickly show you, and this gives a better perspective, I think, of where this property lies vis-a-vis Port Everglades, the port, and Fort Lauderdale International Airport. If you focus in on this location, this is yet another view, and I call your attention to the larger aerial on the left, and you'll see down below there is a writing that says Future Griffin Road Extension. That is the location through those mangroves where Griffin Road is going to go to connect Griffin to McIntosh Road over to the east. And that's been a subject of debate. I told someone I found an article when I Googled it from 1987 when residents in Dania Beach were opposed to the extension of Griffin Road. Believe it or not, I was practicing then, but this is the overview, and I don't think that I am going to go into anything else at this juncture except to point out that we are all here. We're available for specific questions, environmental, site plan. We have read your staff's agenda reports, and we concur with the statements in the reports and agree to the conditions. I wanted to clarify one item on the status of the EIR. The Chappelle Group actually responded to the county's comments Friday a week ago. And, well, last Friday, excuse me, not a week ago, but last Friday. So there's been one round of requests for additional information from the county, and then there has a response. So it's, and Chappelle can expound on that and explain, but we understand the risk, and we think it may be minimal, but we understand the risk that if the site plan requires some slight variations, that are material and not minor, we'll be back before you. But we're asking you to approve the plat. It's a ministerial act, I think, and approve the site plan subject to the conditions. I also just want to say this. Since the inception of this project, the property owner purchased this in 2019, and Nova Southeastern University had an undivided one half, and there was an estate that had the other one undivided half, and it was marketed as an industrial project. Your land use and zoning provide for employment center, land use, and general industrial zoning. It was marketed in that way. You all didn't have any control over that except that it's your master plan and your zoning that was relied upon, and the property owner purchased it and has proceeded to file an application. He's not asking for a land use plan amendment. He's not asking for a rezoning. He's asking for approval if he meets the substantive requirements for a plat and a site plan. It's very, again, clear, we think, that 4 years later almost, it is important to try to move this along. There's even a provision in the Florida statutes relating to municipalities that talks about approving something within 180 days of it being deemed complete. Well, that provision wasn't in the books when we submitted, but I ask you to balance the economic benefit, the property rights of the property owner, the fact that you're controlling land use and zoning documents regulate how this can be used. And without any question, we are going to have to comply with and intend to comply with all environmental requirements. And what I started to say is, since we've been delayed, we've been exploring land swaps, alternatives to try to be more creative on replanting of wetlands and different things that we can't commit to at this point because you have to have willing governmental partners to complete that. But this is not a property owner who is insensitive to the environment and to the wildlife. And I think it's been painted in a different fashion by the public. Just remember the property rights, the law, and what your controlling plan and zoning permit.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you
Stacker.
very much.
Thank you. I believe that Commissioner Romoli has a question for staff.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Trying to remember, going back to the slide presentation, there was something that I saw on there that caught my eye about a measurable success. Do you remember what that was? It's something to do with the environmental impact of the project. Am I incorrect?
I guess you're referring to the mitigation work plan itself, that it's the enhancement. Sure, if we can go back to my presentation. Thank you so much.
I recall it being listed on some, like it was.
The annual evaluation of measurable success criteria.
Okay, so enhancement of the 1.29 acres of wetlands, approximately 31% of the wetlands on site with annual evaluations of who does that annual evaluation? Who does that?
They would need to, with their environmental group, they would need to provide us with that report.
They meaning the property owner. Who follows up on that? How do we know that that's being done? And how do we know it's being done to the level it should be?
Since we're presenting it and we're making it as a condition of approval, it will be part of the resolution.
It would be what?
Part of the resolution.
Excuse me, sorry. But this slide is talking about mitigation of the mangroves, and that's something that is regulated at the county level. So those the reports will be provided to the county, and they'll be monitoring to make sure that all the mangroves that were replanted are still alive, that they are meeting that 5-year period. It will be monitored through.
Yeah, and that's what I was looking for.
Yes.
So it's a county-wide, it's county that's going to be monitoring that.
Yes.
Okay, so thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Jorgensen?
May I just have since it's quasi-judicial, may I just ask staff a couple of questions?
You need, just come up to the microphone. Yes.
Again, I just want a few questions of staff since it's a quasi-judicial, and I'm sorry I didn't catch your names, but I apologize.
Vivian Corinne.
So if the environmental impact report prepared by the county shows that there needs to be a conservation easement, would it have to come back before the commission, or if there's going to be if there has to be an amendment to whatever approval that might be given today, is that going to come back before the commission for a public meeting, or might that be done administratively?
If I may, as Viviana had stated, if there's a substantial change that's required at the county through their environmental review that affects the site plan, then it will come back to the city commission as a site plan modification at that time.
And just to follow up again, the environmental study that you're relying on is the one that was done by the applicant, is that correct? And at this point in time, was there any review of that report by any consultant that may have been hired by the city?
The city does not have environmental specialists. We are relying on the county and their environmental team to do that analysis, review of the data that's submitted by the applicant.
So the information received is all from the county that we have, right now.
Right, it's a copy of what the applicants provided to the county.
Right,
correct.
Right. I just want to make that clear. Okay. So we have any other comments from the public. I do have some public comments out here. Mr. Coleman Ryan, please come and state your name and address for the record, please.
Evening, Coleman Ryan, 348 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach. I just wanted to state that I think it's a little bit premature to be voting on a site plan for this and the plat approval with the ERI have a deadline coming up, so it can actually be reviewed and you can see this with the massive changes that the county could put in there. You don't know. You're approving a site plan, you don't know what the site's going to look like. And you're doing a plat, and you don't know what part of the land is actually developable. I think it's really just going to circle back. If you look at the county report compared to the applicant, they directly contradict each other. There's also aspects with, the mitigation credits, that's just a kind of a community personal thing, is they do pull the mangroves out of here, and then they go put them down in like Manatee Bay or something. We lose them here, and it does relocate. But I think just with so many things that are due on the application for the county, I think we should see that forward first before we make a big decision like this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan. Ted and Sarah, please come and state your name and address for the record, please.
Hello, Commission. My name is Ted Insera, 901 Southwest 19th Street, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. This is my first time at the Dania Beach City Commission meeting. Very impressive. I'd go to a lot of the City of Fort Lauderdale meetings and whatnot, and I'm very impressed with how you hold your meeting and decorum, and not quite the circus that Fort Lauderdale can be sometimes at their commission meetings, but it's very nice. I just want to say I was born in Fort Lauderdale, Florida in 1956 in Broward General Hospital. I've lived in River Oaks for 60 years. River Oaks is an area that is just east of I-95, a little bit north of State Road 84 to Davie Boulevard. We suffered tremendously in the big flood. State Road 84 separates us from Edgewood. And we got hit because growing up, we never had any problems with flooding because Mother Nature had a system in place to provide for us. We had creeks, we had ponds, we had preserves, and those are all gone right now because from development. And sure enough, now we are a registered flood zone, which in my opinion, they created by the development of all the environment with all the wetlands that we had all around us. And now it's anytime it rains, we just have a big problem in the neighborhood. And this is such a unique piece of property, mangroves. They're magical, they're mystical. You got to keep these. You can't sell your soul like the city of Fort Lauderdale has to the developers. You got to keep, because once you go there, you can't get it back. And like the one gentleman said very well, you never know where they're going to replant these things. And that was a great question of you on who's going to do the evaluation. Sometimes you got the wolves guarding the hen house, and that's not a good scenario. But these mangroves, this piece of property is unique, it's valuable, it's special, it needs to be kept and protected at all costs. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Insera. We will move on to Stacy Lee Sherwood. Please come and state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Stacy Lee Sherwood. I live in Deerfield Beach. I've been to the Monkey Sanctuary many times, and I've written several articles about it as well. So I'm actually familiar with the area. So I'm here to ask again that the proposed, quote, warehouse, or whatever it's going to be, by Shlomo Milau be denied. We need the mangroves, as you just heard. We do not need another warehouse or whatever it's going to be at a time when there are dozens already available that could be used right now. Why has no one asked the most obvious question, just why is Milau so desperate to cut down these protective mangroves for a so-called warehouse near several modes of international transportation out of public view? I mean, just the idea of that reeks suspicion to me. Anna Garcia was the one who approved this. She's no longer here. She's no longer the city manager. So therefore, any of her former recommendations or approvals, I feel, must be null and void. I don't think the new city manager has done his due diligence, and I believe instead he is just parroting what his former boss had approved, which the county, as we all know, did not approve. I have to wonder why the city manager usurps the power of the commission. So again, no on the building on the property, which should never have been sold in the first place. What a legacy for Dania Beach if they sell out of either fear or payback, or because Milau gave $15,000 to the Good Governing PAC that Commissioner Ryan chairs. Shlomo's, quote, project is not worth the lives of the threatened and endangered species who live there, which have been well documented, and I know you all know that. It will be a huge public stain on Dania Beach and the commission and everyone involved in the travesty, which will follow them throughout their careers. So my expression is just say no to Shlomo, because Broward already voted 8-0 to protect this land. We need that. We don't need any more warehouses or whatever else it's going to be. Do the right thing.
Thank you, Ms. Sherwood. Ms. Rice, you spoke on the procedure, but you would like to speak on the topic as well.
So once again, my name is Janine Rice, and at one time, I actually sat up on that dais a few years ago as a member of this city's Planning and Zoning Advisory Board. So I know what it's like to sit there and then to have my vote discounted, to be honest. Another thing about me that I'd like for you to know is that I live across the way from the mangroves on Southeast Fifth Avenue. And I'm one of the lucky ones in Southeast Dania Beach. In fact, I sometimes pass the commissioner walking our dogs. He doesn't probably recognize me right now in a suit. But those mangroves, as the witness before me indicated, they have special powers. And those superpowers are things that we don't have enough money in our treasury to substitute. They control water quality. They are free carbon capture. And they protect us from storm surge and flooding so that we don't end up like our brothers and sisters in Tampa and Fort Myers during those hurricanes on the Gulf side. So that's the perspective that I come to you with. But I'm also, as I said, an attorney, and for today, I want to speak for the trees, like the Lorax did. And I want to tell you that you cannot replace, and there is no monetary value to replace mangroves. They are a protected species in this state, and they are for the reasons that I just said. They provide invaluable protection for humans. They provide invaluable protection for our economy, and they provide invaluable protection for our non-human neighbors. I heard, I think it was the Board of Education, the school board's presentation about being good stewards. And being a good steward, as you are, as our elected representatives, I know you're always looking out for the Treasury. In fact, I noticed that one of the key features of staff's presentation was the impact fees, the money that is generated for us, not necessarily for the staff or even for the elected officials, but for the fact that you two are taxpayers. And we as taxpayers should have the ability to truly and meaningfully be heard on this issue. I appreciate the citizen from Deerfield Beach, but I am a citizen of Dania Beach, and I do not want a warehouse in my city, and I do not want to subsidize that warehouse with future generations. So I ask that you keep that in mind in being good stewards of all of our treasure.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Rice. And Dr. Missy Williams.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners and City staff. My name is Dr. Missy Williams. Yes, I am reading. I told you guys I hate doing that, but I have my points that need to be made. I'm a biologist with a PhD in integrative biology, and I am submitting my wildlife data into the record tonight because it directly supports the concerns raised in Broward County's environmental impact review. One of the most striking discrepancies in this record concerns wildlife. The EIR specifically noted that the Chappelle reported no wildlife observed on the site. Yet through direct observations, trail camera monitoring since November 2025, and passive acoustic monitoring, I have documented 29 species or taxa this far within this mangrove system. And that number is not final. I'm still analyzing months of trail camera SD cards, and yet so additional species may be documented. My observations include the state-threatened tricolored heron, as well as snowy egrets and white ibis, species addressed under the Florida Imperiled Species Management Plan, and wood storks. Although the wood stork has been removed from the federally endangered species list, it remains protected by FWC under a current statute. Delisting does not mean that the species or its habitat can simply be disregarded. Multiple bat species have also been acoustically detected at several locations around these mangroves, including immediately adjacent to the applicant's parcel. Preliminary acoustic data also contains certain calls classified potentially as the endangered listed Florida bonneted bat. I'm not presenting these calls as confirmed. They need to be manually vetted by a qualified expert, but their detection is precisely why a proper bat survey is warranted before conclusions are made about wildlife use of this property. Chappelle states that conducted informal surveys. This contrast is significant. An informal survey reporting no wildlife versus months of monitoring documentation of at least 29 species this far. The absence of an observed nest or an animal during a limited survey does not establish absence. These mangroves are being used for foraging, roosting, refuge movement, and potentially nesting. The EIR process is not complete, and material environmental questions remain unsolved. There were 21 comments that the EIR asked the applicant. Many were repeat comments. My data supports the county's concerns and demonstrates why additional wildlife evaluation is necessary. I respectfully ask that you defer the approval of the plat and site plan until the environmental review is complete and the necessary wildlife surveys have been conducted. I have emailed this to the city staff as well as the mayor, vice mayor, and the commissioners with all my current data, and I'm also happy to share my SD cards and also my raw bat data. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. And next we'll have Mr. Philip Singleton. If you will come up and state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, Mayor, Mr. Manager, City Commissioners. Thank you all for the time tonight. I want to thank you all really for the past few months since we've deferred this meeting, at least having open door conversation, especially Mr. Manager. I know that there was some disparaging comments, but I know that we've had a very productive conversation. And just to kind of fill some of the public in that's watching tonight, we have had very productive conversations with Councilman Furr, or Commissioner Furr, in the county, along with the manager and different members of the county city commission, to see what we can do to resolve this issue. Now, there's a lot of information, especially when the social media activists and things get twisted online, that really defame Mr. Shlomo, and they don't highlight the fact that he's been a business owner in this city for 25 years. The only reason this property was purchased initially after Nova gave it up was because it was inside the city of Dania Beach. The other property was outside of 95. So he has a love for the city. He has a love for the city to grow. And even developing this project, it wasn't necessarily to say, hey, we need to cut down mangroves. It was a fact of I need to have a warehouse for my fashion industry so that I can produce things faster. And not only do I want to produce it faster, I want to do it in the city of Dania Beach. But that happens to be just skipped over in everybody's research, not only to see where his political contributions may go to support different friends he may have. However, it does get to a point of saying, if you're going to do all the research, put everything out there for everybody to know. But overall, he's a resident, not a resident, excuse me. He owns businesses in this city for over 25 years. And the biggest thing is, how can we make sure that there's a solution here? He isn't to a point of saying, hey, we're a major land developer. We just want to take the mangroves. We don't care. Mr. Shlomo, since he's brought me onto this project over a year ago, has been to a fact of, Philip, I want peace. I want to resolve the situation. I want everything. I've actually sat down, had a phone call with Dr. Williams to express the same thing, that the reason we're going through with the plat approvals is that if we get to a situation where we want a land swap with the city or we want a land swap with the county, we at least have something comparable. So we're not to a point of saying our property is worth $21 million, we want a property that's worth $40 million for a land swap. At the same time, we don't want something to say, hey, we're worth $21 million and we want to swap for a property that's worth $14 million. So essentially, this is a part of the process as we get here, and eventually it will come back from the county to say, hey, how can we work together? Because the manager did suggest some changes that we have considered, also regarding mitigation on maybe where we get the mangroves from. But overall, we want peace. We want to resolve this. So even the narrative's getting out there saying, hey, Mr. Shlomo, he's been in this city for 25 years, helping support this city, helping grow this city. The bigger thing is, how can we work together collectively between the city, the county, and the residents to say, hey, if we want to protect and grow the city of Dania Beach, let's do it together, let's do it comprehensively, and let's do it to a point of saying that we're not bickering back and forth between social media, at this commission dais, or as the vice mayor said, stretching this out further than we need to. Thank you for your time. Also, happy birthday to the city attorney. It's my birthday as well. I didn't plan on spending my 41st birthday here, but we're here together, so hopefully we'll grab drinks tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Singleton. I believe that is all the comment that I have from the public at this time. Seeing no other comments, then I will close the public comment at this time. I will let you know, Mr. Singleton, that I have talked to our city manager at some point in time, and I said the bigger picture that I would like to be able to see is a resolution that we come to some sort of agreement where you can not build on the mangroves, but you're a businessman, and I understand that, you do have a vested interest and invested in these properties, but I think that the public comment and the public outrage has been such that the residents just don't want it on the mangroves, and at the end of the day, that's what I would prefer to be able to see and be able to have those conversations so that we can come to a resolution that's a win-win for the residents and to have that that warehouse moved elsewhere. So I will, but I also do believe, I'll save the rest of the comments for the end, but I just wanted to acknowledge the fact that the end resolution is something that that I'm very interested in seeing. Vice Mayor.
You knew it was coming. Okay. Listening to all the comments, and I appreciate everybody's, feelings on this. A couple of things that were said about, moving forward and letting it go to the county first. I don't believe it can go to the county until it passes here, it then goes back to the county. I think that was the way the process works. Correct me if I'm wrong on anything I'm saying, city attorney. The other thing is, the other gentleman said, at any cost. Well, buy the property. If we process this through and it's something that we can do, and and it comes up and it's a legal piece of property on, if we don't pass it, the city can be sued for that 21 million or the 30 million or whatever the property value is worth. That's your taxpayers' dollars that are going to go out the door. Then we're going to catch it for that. The best scenario to help everybody would be a land swap. It may take time. Once if we pass this tonight, which I hope the commission understands where we stand as far as being sued if we don't, it goes back to the county, then maybe the county will kick it out. Maybe they'll take the property, maybe they will find a land swap, and this will all go away. But we have due process, and the process is we do need to, just because there's 10, 12, 15, 20, 30 people here that are against it, there's thousands of Dania Beach residents that pay taxes, and if they pay taxes and we get sued because we didn't pass this, and all of a sudden we have to hear that we have a $30 million lawsuit on us because we didn't do that. I've been up here for a long time. I've seen all this come into fruition before, and we've been challenged on this. Am I correct on that, Eve? Am I telling the right story here so I don't look bad?
So overall, there can be an appeal. I mean, if you were to say no, there can be an appeal, and ultimately it would be remanded back. And a court could, if it's a really egregious case, award attorney's fees and costs. And I have seen that happen.
Yes, okay, that's what I figured. Okay, so I want everybody to understand that it's not just something that we want to have a building, we want to have the income to the city. There's a lot of places that we're going to get that from. But to the developer, to Mr. Shlomo and whoever his company is, you know, they're entitled to they made a purchase under good standings and good faith, and it's something that they were allowed to build on. If you were in our positions up here, you'd have to make that smart decision. You make that decision wrong, and we get sued, then I want to hear everybody stand behind us and say, well, I'm going to give you my $100,000 to give him his millions of dollars. It's not going to happen. So, you know, I mean, I want you to understand that it's not something that we all like, the fact that mangroves are gone or this or that. I think you heard them say that they would be up for a land swap. The process is that I feel like we should pass this item. It should go back to the county to see what the county says, and maybe the county will find a piece of property that he would be happy to move. There's a lot of places back on the west side of the airport that are worth a lot of money that he can maybe swap a bigger piece of property for. Who knows? But I'm just letting you know the reason why behind this. We're not trying to be somebody that doesn't like mangroves or anything. We're just doing what we need to do as far as what's proper. And that's why I asked the city attorney if I'm saying the right thing, because I don't want to mislead anybody. But we have to make a decision to have the process move forward. And then if it's illegal or the county doesn't want it to be through, they can stop it, because everything goes through the county as it is on this, as it is. So that's all I have to say, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Commissioner Llewellyn.
Yes, through the mayor, I just clarify again, City Attorney, the EIR, which is
Environmental Impact Report.
Right. There's quite a few items that they still have to address with that, correct?
Mr. Stacker indicated they've given a response. I don't know about what the response is and whether that's been accepted, but the EIR, yes, had a number of things that had to be complied with. And then it has to be reviewed, and then the staff of the county has to give a recommendation.
And the things that need to be reviewed include things like wildlife impact.
It's all environmental.
It's all environmental. Everything's environmental. And that's something that the county does, not us.
Correct.
Regardless of how we vote, it still has to go through that whole process. Do we know if there's any possibility that it gets rejected somehow from the EIR?
Well, okay, so an EIR is a final report.
Right.
So there could be a report saying, you know, we think most of the area should be mitigated or should stay as mangroves, or the whole thing can come down, you mitigate elsewhere. I mean, there's a number of possibilities what the county decision would be as to the impact on the environment and how it should be mitigated.
Right. They also do the drainage too.
Yes, there is because there are wetlands there. There are regulations relating to the wetlands. That is also reviewed by public services of the county, not just the environmental department, and the sustainability. Thank you.
Okay, so they're basically doing a whole nother review of it as well.
Yes. You know, if I may, just to
Please.
Point of privilege, just the way this started was it was a form process for the application to proceed forward. And the commission held an extra hearing to give their input to the county on whether the property should be removed from the ESL, which is the environmentally sensitive lands map, right? Ultimately, the county said, you know, we're not going to remove it from the map, but at the same time, they changed their rules.
Right.
And the rules are that they have to do this EIR and go for their plat process. So, but they can't do that until we finish our process. So whether everybody wants to see the EIR and maybe it would make sense to wait to get the final report on the EIR and know what the county is going to say so that the applicant doesn't have to come back to us, that's not the requirement. He can go forward.
Thank you, City Attorney. Thank you, Commissioner Llewellyn.
I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay, and I'm gonna go back a little ways as well, is because when we first got the notice about the mangroves, we were told that it was conditionally approved, or it was just supposed to be approved in order to get all of the environmental reports from all of the experts. And so we went and we waited for the county, and the county gave over 150-something pages of a report from different departments, different environmental departments. Now, we were saying we were waiting for that just so we could get the subject matter experts' opinion. And they did give their opinions that these wetlands were hydrologically connected, and it was recommended denial from pretty much all of the staff. Now they've changed the process. Now we need a new environmental report, environmental impact report. And so it seems like we're twirling around in circles. But the whole point was for us to be able to say, we want to make sure how this is going to impact our environment. And we do have an initial report, but now we have a separate report that is now due. And as I look here on what was provided by the county on August 13th, that there were several missing items, and then they just have until September 25th, 2026 to provide those outstanding items. It behooves me as a person who's a researcher by nature, by trade, that you have all of the information before you make a decision. I know it's not a requirement, but that was the whole process from the beginning, was to be able to get the environmental impact report from the subject matter experts so that we could then make an informed decision. And so I don't see the rush in making it happen right now. I have been told from other resources that, there is some other financial benefit for trying to push this through. I don't want to listen to rumors, but I do want to find out if there's any subject matter expert here that once a plat and a site plan is approved, then the property value goes up significantly. That is what I was informed, and so that is the reason that I'm informed that this is being pushed through now. It would literally be 1 month away from today before we are supposed to have that information to the county by September 25th. And so I would prefer to make a decision with the entire report. But long term, like I said, I would prefer to see a resolution behind the scenes where we figure out a land swap or something better so that we can move this warehouse from the mangrove and figure out a different solution, be it a land swap or whatever, and move forward. But at this juncture, we just are making a decision without all of the information, which is something that I do not agree with. So that is where I stand on it. Do we have any other comments? Nope. Okay, do I have a motion? Vice Mayor?
Okay, I make a motion we pass item 10.1.
And 2?
Motion to pass 10.1 and 2 by Vice Mayor. Do I have a second? Seeing none. The motion dies.
Just to be clear, that if you do not make any other motions, and if it is a denial of the application going forward at this time, I want you to be clear that there needs to be a record to support the decision, because any appeal that would happen, I'm assuming there would be an appeal, is the due process arguments, whether there's competent substantial evidence in the record to support the decision and the correct law was applied. I haven't heard anything about the correct law. We've already addressed the due process, so really it's whether there's competent substantial evidence to support your decision. I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Thank you, City Attorney. I still don't have a motion, so.
Then it fails.
Then it fails. All right, motion fails. Let's move on. All right, we'll move on to, we're moving on. Going on to, item 11.1. Oh. Parks and Rec, if you guys could come forward. Yeah, I guess the city attorney, she can read that when she comes. City Clerk, can you please read the ordinance? Thank you. 11.1.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Dania Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 6 of the City Code of Ordinances, which chapter is entitled in general to amend Section 6-26 entitled Reserve to provide for peer regulations, including permitted and prohibited use of the pier, providing for conflicts, codification, severability, and providing for an effective date.
Good afternoon again, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commission, City Manager, City Clerk, City Attorney, Frankie Lazo, Deputy Director of Parks, and I have a presentation on our peer ordinances. Next slide, please.
I'm sorry. You need me to read it. An ordinance, oh, I'm sorry, just got distracted there.
Laura read it.
So our request is to amend Chapter 6 of the City Code Ordinance to include Section 626, which is now titled will be titled, if approved, the Dania Beach Pier Regulations. Just some background. So the Parks and Rec Department did a review of our Chapter 6 ordinance, which is the beach, parks, waterways, and recreation. And we determined that we needed to update it to see what would be the permitted activities and what would be prohibited activities at the pier. The proposed regulations will clearly define the use of the pier and will allow for appropriate enforcement of city ordinances. And the amendments are in the best interest of the health, safety, and welfare of the residents and visitors of the city. So what we did is we did a comprehensive ordinance, and we broke it down into 5 sections. So the first section is the general provisions, which is who manages it. It is managed right now by Parks and Recreation as a recreational facility. So, uses outside of the recreational capacity must be approved by the Parks and Recreation Director or designee, or we'll bring it to the city manager for conversation. Item B is the fees. So right now the fees are through a resolution that they're approved by City Commission. So that is just identifying that. Item C is prohibited acts. So that is any person violating city ordinances or performing prohibited acts shall be removed from the pier. And this section just defines if removed, the first time offense, you'll just be removed for the day. If you're removed the second time in a 12-month period, it will be up to 30 days. And if removed the third time, it'll be up to 180 days. There's also some violations if it's violence or destruction of property that will lead to suspension up to a year and immediate removal. So that just defines that process and gives us, an appeal process as well. Section D is visitors and fishing rules for the pier. So this is just a section of a comprehensive rule list that has everything from, how many rods you can bring, outline commercial fishing activity, just a clear rule set. And then we have E, which is additional rules of the pier. And this is just more your day-to-day, you have to pay admission to go to the pier, the hours of the pier, and who has the right to trespass people from the pier and authority sections. So our recommendation is approval. It requires 2 readings because it is an ordinance, so this is the first reading. And then our analysis, what we did is we researched what the surrounding piers were doing, wanted to see what the best practices were. And then we also worked with our administration team. We worked with the beach rangers, ocean rescue, BSO, and city attorney, and code to make sure we aligned correctly as a city. So the recommendation is to approve this. based on the research that we've done in first reading, and then hopefully bring it back to second reading. That's all I have. Any questions?
Thank you, Frankie, for that in-depth presentation on the ordinances. Do I have any questions from the commission? Motion? Everybody's shy tonight. I don't know. This is 11.1. Commissioner Romoli?
Motion to approve 11.1.
Do I have a second? Commissioner Llewellyn?
Second.
City Clerk, call it to a vote.
Commissioner Llewellyn?
Yes.
Commissioner Romoli?
Yes.
Commissioner Ryan?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Slavina?
Yes.
Mayor Davis?
Yes.
Mayor, the motion.
Thank you.
All right, 11.1 passes unanimously. Thank you, Frankie. And we will move on to 11.2. Eve, if you could please read 11.2.
Yes, Mayor. Just so you know, 11.2 is the only first reading ordinance that requires a public hearing.
Okay.
So it's an ordinance of the City Commission authorizing the expenditure of city funds exceeding $1 million to fund the Northwest First Street Complete Streets and Pedestrian Connectivity Project, providing for codification, conflict severability, and an effective date. This is public services.
Good evening. We're requesting the approval of this ordinance to improve the roadway conditions, pedestrian accessibility, ADA compliance, drainage, traffic safety, and overall corridor infrastructure. This project is going to be funded also with FDOT funding allocation that will provide over $2.6 million for the overall project. The total cost is going to be $4.4 million, and we're looking for the approval of this project.
Thank you, Oscar. All right, Commissioner Remote. Oh, yes, this is a public hearing, you just said. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to speak for or against this item? Seeing none, public hearing is closed. And now, Commissioner Ryan.
Motion to approve item 11.2.
Okay, motion from Commissioner Ryan.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Romoli. All in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. All right, item 11.2 passes unanimously. Item 11.3, please read it, Eve.
An ordinance of the City Commission creating a new section in Chapter 2 entitled Electronic Payment Processing Surcharges to authorize the city to recover electronic payment processing costs as authorized by Section 215-322, subsection 5 of the Florida statutes, providing for codification, conflict severability, and effective date. This is a finance item.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Jamie Guzman, Chief Financial Officer. This is more of a collective effort amongst all departments of the city to address a significant line item in our budget, that is our credit card fees. Currently, we paid about $500,000 in credit card fees, and we are required to provide by Florida statutes some type of electronic payment capability. But the statute also allows us to offset the cost of providing such services. As such, we come before you to request authorization to be able to impose those fees upon credit card transactions and electronic fees. This does not include your water and sewer, and that is because they're currently going under a study, and we want to analyze all fees. Also, public records requests, and that is because it's so minimal to be able to provide this service that it's not worth the cost. We will spend more money trying to change the fee structure on the public records request than what will be assessed. The rate for the fees will be a blended rate. Every merchant that we use, Visa, Discover, MasterCard, they assess different fees, so we're looking at a blended rate, and we will coming back to you for what those blended rates will look like in September. And currently, we just request approval for this item.
Thank you, CFO. Jamie, let me see, do we have Commissioner Romoli.
I just want to say, great job. Awesome.
Yeah.
To everybody who found out about this. We're saving our city quite a bit of money here. So kudos to you, and I want to go ahead and pass 3.11.3.
Thank you, Commissioner Romoli. I echo those comments. We are saving a lot of money here. Commissioner Llewellyn.
I think he just made a motion also, did you?
Yes.
Yes, so I'll second his motion to pass.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. All right, item 11.3 passes unanimously. Item 11.4. Eve, if you could please read item 11.4.
Yes, Mayor. It is an ordinance of the City Commission relating to powers of local authorities and amending Chapter 20 entitled Police, Article 5, Speed Detection, System Replacement and Installation, School Crossing Guard Recruitment and Retention Program, creating Section 20-21 relating to creating the speed detection systems in school zones, rules relating to same, penalties, etc., including not limited to driver's license points provided for codification, conflict, severability, and an effective date. You may recall that this is a city attorney item. You may recall that this item came up recently and there was a consensus to move forward with drafting an ordinance. This would allow the city to have speed zones along our public schools, and the speed zones would start from around 7:30 and end around 3:30, and it would be an all-day enforcement. Under the ordinance, it's a state law, and the state law basically provides that the ticket is $100, and it is distributed amongst various entities, including the state, school board, the county, and ourselves. So it's basically $60 of every $40 would go to the city, the other 40 would go to the other entities. Of the 60, if we go forward and do a contract, approximately $15 would go to the vendor that we use to administer the program. The school zones basically require that a violation would issue through these camera processes if you go 11 miles over the posted speed limit. Do you have any questions?
Any questions? Any discussion? A motion? Commissioner Ryan?
I do have a question. I asked Eve this. What happens if if a police officer pulls somebody over because they were speeding and then they got hit with the camera as well? Do they get like double fines?
I believe that it would be the live camera that would ticket that would control, but I'm confirming that with our vendor. And
Okay.
state law.
Yeah, it was just a question that I had when I was discussing with
And
one
I'll
of the
make sure
officers.
you have the direct answer on it for the second reading.
Yeah, it's an interesting item. I don't think anything is a better deter than a cop on the road, like especially our motorman. And I know that we only have one motorman, and he's getting ready to retire soon. So I'm sure we're going to replace Deputy Wilson also. So I just want to know that dilemma, I guess, so to speak. But I just want to be careful when it comes to this, when it comes to oversight on this item, if we're going to implement this or not. I know we're not voting to implement it now. We're just putting the wording in place in case we do approve a company.
I will get you that answer sooner rather than later. And also, there is a 30-day notice requirement for before you implement, like getting the public word out. I talked to a possible vendor today. It probably is going to take about 12 weeks to get the signs up and running once we approve the ordinance, once we approve a contract, and getting FDOT sign off, et cetera. And then it may take another couple of weeks, but they seem to have the process pretty down-packed. And in the meantime, we could do the education component to the community at large.
Okay.
Okay, Commissioner Ryan, Commissioner Llewellyn.
I was just going to make a motion to approve.
Okay, I have a motion to approve from Commissioner Llewellyn. Do I have a second?
Yes, second.
Second from Commissioner Ryan. All in favor say aye. Romoli, sorry. Second from Commissioner Romoli. It's getting late. All in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Okay, item 11.4 passes unanimously. And we are going to proceed to 11.5, but I have 3 questions that I'd like to ask the city attorney before we move to 11.5. Madam City Attorney, would you please first confirm that work had already substantially been completed on this amendment to our naming and renaming policy before Commissioner Llewellyn placed 11.5 on tonight's agenda?
Mayor, you and I have been working on an ordinance relating to facility naming since April of 2025. And yes, it was substantially done, predominantly done.
Pretty much done, completed. And second question, can you confirm that Commissioner Llewellyn subsequently approached the city attorney's office and requested the work and materials that you and I and city attorney Luis Figueredo had already substantially developed regarding this policy?
She asked for a copy, yes.
And so all of my information that we had worked on for months was then given to Commissioner Llewellyn?
Yes.
Thank you. And third, if you can confirm during our agenda review this morning, can you confirm that only 2 changes that was made to the work that we had already developed? Would you please identify those 2 changes for the record?
I stand corrected, it's actually 3 changes.
Okay.
So let me read the ordinance if you don't mind, and then I'll give you your 3 changes, just so that everybody in the audience knows what we're talking about.
Please.
It's an ordinance of the City Commission amending Chapter 2 entitled Administration, Article 5, Naming of City Facilities, at Section 2-101 entitled Naming of City-Owned Facilities to update the policies and procedures for naming facilities, for providing for conflicts, codification, severability, and an effective date. Now, I'm going to let Commissioner Llewellyn deal with the intent, but basically, the 3 changes from what you had drafted with us is the following. 1, you had asked for a policy provision in here that if you got a key to the city, a street naming, or a facility naming, you couldn't get the other 2. The key to the city was stricken. Okay, that's the one I forgot to tell you about.
Okay.
The second is that you had asked for RISE principles be included in the agenda package and in the policy so that the residents could meet the standards of RISE. The RISE policy is a policy for our staff, and it was believed to be hard to implement for the community since it's a document that staff has to live with as far as how they treat the public, how they deal with honesty and trust in their endeavors. So because that applied to the staff, that was taken out. And the last major change was let me just find the section, under the criteria for evaluating, which is eligibility criteria on page 5. The first item was city elected officials who have completed their term limits and have made a significant contribution to the city could get a naming. That was modified to say that if the elected official does not complete a full term due to death or material illness, may be an exception to the rule of completing a term with a 4/5 vote. Those were the 3 material changes. As far as what I did in the ordinance at your direction, we streamlined it, we clarified it, we made sure that it was more consistent and in an order that the community could read and understand. The other material changes that were made was that we defined what is a significant contribution to basically being like a 10-year detailed process. It's not a general goodwill to the community kind of thing. And a significant financial contribution, which we had a contribution financially in there previously, but now it's a significant financial contribution, and that is defined. And you get to make that final determination should anybody come forward with funding to name a facility.
Okay, so for the several months that I've been working with the city attorney and assistant city attorney to help develop this. There were only, for the record, 3 major changes by Commissioner Llewellyn, now presenting this under her name.
For a draft, yes.
Thank you. Okay, so the goal has been to create a policy. This was the goal from the very beginning, to create a policy that is clear, that is fair, that is transparent, and easy for the residents to understand and use. The reason I brought this policy to the city attorney and to the assistant city attorney was to go through this policy and make sure that it's something that the residents can use. Commissioners have, gotten naming parks passed, they've gotten buildings named after them because elected officials know how to go through that process and get things done. My objective in doing this was to make sure that the residents have sufficient feedback that this is going to be something that they would want to do, and that they would know how to do, and with the ease, as easy as an elected official would be able to do. So that work is still, I am still getting feedback from the community, because it is a community. This was created for the community, and it was created out of necessity of me seeing that there was an imbalance of what an elected official was able to do versus a regular resident who just wanted to name something after their loved one. And that process is not finished. And so I want to complete that process that I started, and bring this finished policy back to the commission for consideration once I have finished my due diligence within the community. It is only respectful that I be able to finish what I started, and I'm going to make a motion to table this until I am able to finish the process. And I'm seeking a second. We'll continue.
Ordinarily, before you, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's what I meant to ask you, city attorney, yes.
So when you can make a motion, but ordinarily the motion comes after every person has had the opportunity to speak, especially, and every person has got to speak, let's leave it at that. And the person who has sponsored it should be given the opportunity to speak.
Okay.
And then you can make the motion.
That's not what I was told. Okay. All right. Commissioner Ryan.
Yeah, I know that we went through this like 3 years ago, I believe, with the name facility and namings. Yeah, there's a couple things that I would like some more clarification on. It's probably not a bad idea, Mayor, that we take this back to the drawing board, because some things just aren't clear to me, like 10 years of public service and has achieved national or international distinction. Like, we don't have a lot of people in Dania Beach who have achieved national or international distinction, I would say. But and the same thing with the financial contribution, like what's a significant amount of funding? It's just not clear to me. So those are just a couple of questions I have, and yeah, I would agree that we bring this back later.
Thank you, Commissioner Ryan. Commissioner Llewellyn.
Thank you. So let me explain a little bit about what was going on here. So there was a naming policy that was done some time ago. It was voted on and it passed. I had issues with it at the time. I voted against it, actually, I believe. Subsequent to that, there were some things that came up, and I specifically recall our mayor making comments at the time about wanting to go back and make the changes to the naming policy. I had no issue with that at all, and I thought it was actually a really good idea because I didn't like the policy that we had. It had been a while, and I hadn't heard anything, hadn't seen it on there, and I did ask about whether or not this was coming forward. And part of that was because I had a couple of items that I wanted to address, but I was trying to be respectful and allow our mayor to take her time, and because I know she's busy and I know she likes to be thorough. And I was trying to allow her the time to do what she needed to do in order to finish it. It got to a point, though, where now I'm only here for 4 more meetings after tonight. And there are things that I would like to get done before I leave. So I did ask to please, can we find out if this is going to be put on the agenda or not, because I'd like to move forward if I could do that, because I would like to handle a couple of things before I'm gone. Very simple. And I thought I was being actually very respectful and trying to wait as long as I did. I've seen commissioners take items that other people have started working on many times and put their name on them or whatever. And I actually didn't even care about putting my name on it. You can put your name on it right now if you want to, or second reading, or if it gets to that point. It's not about the name. It's not about me putting my name on it. It was just about getting it done because it has been there for well over a year. And in that time, like I said, I've had several things that I wanted to move forward with, and I was trying to wait until it was done so that it would be done under the better process. I thought most of those changes that were made were excellent, which is why I continued to leave those in there when I looked at this. There were just a couple of things that I thought needed to be streamlined, so I went ahead and did that. And it is a public record, so that's the reason why I'm allowed to ask for that. Certainly was not trying to steal anybody's thunder, certainly wasn't trying to steal anybody's ideas, and in fact, my intent tonight with this item was to initially give credit to the mayor for putting in the work and doing all of the things that she did to make the changes initially. But apparently I'm being accused of something. So I would like to move forward with this because I do want to. I have two items in particular that I would like to bring forward. One is smaller, one's a little bit larger, but I would like to move them forward before I leave this dais as a former mayor, former vice mayor, and current commissioner who has been doing this for 8 years. I would like to be able to move forward with that and try to get those things done. If there are additional changes that you think need to be made, happy to talk about them. That's what first readings are for, so we can make them between first and second reading. Thank you.
Any other comments from the commission? All right, so I have Commissioner Romoli.
Thank you, Mayor. So if we move forward with this item, it's first reading, we can make some changes along the way. Next meeting will be in 2 weeks, correct? Is that? So we have an opportunity over the next 2 weeks to add to this and do some modifications?
If it's real material, and it changes the title, that could be a problem, but ultimately, yes, you could have it in 2 weeks.
Okay. And second question would be, if we don't do anything with this and Commissioner Llewellyn wants to move forward with the two items that she wants to do, it would be under the old process.
Yeah.
Which could, again, it could complicate things and people may not necessarily agree with those.
That's correct.
So I think since the mayor did most of the work, and it seems to me like there's only a couple, 3 things that were modified, that we should move this forward with the idea of everyone taking some time to look at it and add to it and providing the mayor or Commissioner Llewellyn the feedback that we get out of it. So I would like to make a motion to move forward with.
We already have a motion in.
Oh, we
The
did.
mayor did make a motion, but.
Oh, I'm sorry.
In a second.
Okay, and I guess that'll be a second.
She made a
I'm a second all the time.
Commissioner Romoli.
But your motion was to continue the item.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Continue it. And I believe I got a second from Commissioner Ryan.
I second your motion, Mayor.
Thank you. All right.
Just for clarity, when do you want to continue to?
I want to have, we have to have a date then, right?
Yes.
So, let's do the second meeting in September. No, that's the.
No, it hasn't been voted yet, but to continue it, you need a date, and I was asking what the date was. So the second meeting in September. Okay, do you want to,
Yeah, so I have a motion and a second. Let's call it to a vote. Laura, so the motion is to carry it to, motion to continue to the September 24th hearing. We have a motion and a second, and then we'll call it to you have something else, Commissioner Romoli?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Commissioner
So
Rowley?
we're making a motion to move it to another date, but isn't that the same thing as making a motion to approve it with changes to the second date? It's the same thing, isn't it?
No.
What's different? I
Well,
don't
because
understand.
because this, what I began is not completed, and I will be able to have enough sufficient time to be able to complete the work that I wanted to do within the community and have the community feedback.
So
and have
September, what's the?
24th.
So the
In
next
other
meeting
words,
is when?
first reading would be continued to September 24th, and then a second reading theoretically would be the first meeting in October.
Okay.
Okay.
Commissioner Llewellyn?
No.
Commissioner Romoli?
No.
Commissioner Ryan?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Salvino?
No.
Mayor Davis?
And we are going, I need to know one more thing. If I'm on the opposing side, can I bring this back at a later date?
The only, so the question was, if you're on the failing side of a motion, you cannot do a motion for reconsideration.
Okay, so I will vote yes at this time, and we'll bring it back for reconsideration. Thank you, and we'll move on.
No,
you have to vote on the item.
the item has passed. The item to, I'm sorry, the item to continue has failed.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, yeah. All right, do I have?
No, you want to vote no, Mayor, if you want to be on the winning side.
Okay.
Yeah.
She voted.
Wait a minute. The motion is to continue.
The motion was to continue, you said yes, the motion was to continue, you voted yes, and Commissioner Ryan voted yes, everyone else voted no.
Okay.
So it failed.
Okay.
So,
that's what I'm asking you the question. If we need a new motion to pass item 11.5, okay. Do I have a motion to pass 11.5?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to pass 11.5 with the idea that each of us can contribute to the additional items of this bill, or opposite bill, of this procedure, and provide that feedback at the second reading, or before the second reading.
and you would provide that to me, just to be clear.
Is that right?
You want?
Okay.
Okay, so he's gonna make a motion to approve with the distinguishing that everybody can add to the bill. Well, not the bill, it's not a bill, it's the amendment to the ordinance. All right. Commissioner Llewellyn.
Do we have to do that now? Make the changes or make the suggestions?
It would, honestly, it would be better to have the changes now. If you want to give me suggestions, and I can put a cheat sheet together for the next meeting, but I can't incorporate them into the ordinance because you didn't give direction at this meeting on what those changes are.
That's why it's rushed.
It's not rushed. It's been ongoing for over a year.
So you wouldn't be able to give feedback that we could see before the next meeting?
It would basically be like a cheat sheet, like that says on page 5, on this provision, you want to add the X, Y, and Z. But it wouldn't be incorporated into the ordinance because you hadn't given at the dais that direction. And it's technically Commissioner Llewellyn's item right now, and she may not accept all the changes. So, but on the dais, you can make the motion in second.
But we could also vote on it at the next meeting. And on each of those, if people have additional changes, we could vote on each of those.
Correct.
Okay.
And as long as you're not substantially changing, you're not changing the title, so it's not about naming anymore. It's about street naming. You should be fine because I kept the title general enough.
Okay, then I will second Commissioner Romoli's motion.
Okay, Laura.
Commissioner Llewellyn?
Yes.
Commissioner Romoli?
Oh, sorry, hold on. Did you get it? There you go.
I got it. Okay. Commissioner Ryan?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Salvino?
Yes.
Mayor
Yes.
Mayor, the motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, we're on the last two.
All right. All right, the last two, let's move forward.
Would you like me to read the
that,
title?
please? Yeah.
An ordinance of the City Commission to amend Chapter 28 of the Land Development Code at Article 811 Public Art Program at Section 81120 definitions to further clarify the definition of public art, modifying Section 811-130 Public Art Advisory Board to remove the Commissioner Liaison position and require the City Commission authorization for art board projects, provided for conflicts codification and effective date. This is a public hearing item. It is sponsored by Commissioner Llewellyn. I think the title addresses the 3 points. It is, again, to modify the definition of public art so it can be seen from any public way. It doesn't have to be necessarily a right-of-way. It could be from a park. And Public Art Advisory Board, it would be to remove the Commissioner Liaison and require City Commission authorization for the Art Board to proceed with projects.
And again, you need to be on the prevailing side in order to bring it back. Thank you. All right, do we have a motion and a second?
You want a public hearing?
Oh, public hearing. Public. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Ugh. All right. Do we have a motion? Commissioner Llewellyn? Motion to approve?
What is it, 12.1?
Oh, 12.1? Yeah. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ramoli. I'm getting tired. City Clerk, let's take it to a vote.
Commissioner Llewellyn?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramoli?
Yes.
Commissioner Ryan?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Salvino? Yes. Mayor Davis?
Yes.
Mayor, the motion carries.
Thank you. All right, let's move forward. And we will go to item 12.2, is it? 12.2.
Yes.
Eve, you have a good time reading that. Go.
An ordinance of the City of Dania Beach amending certain provisions of Chapter 28, the Land Development Code, in order to do cleanup in various provisions of the code, including 1, to amend Part 1 use regulations at Section 105-220 PRD 1 District Supplemental Regulations to amend site plan requirements for accessory structures in the PRD 1. 2, to amend Article 110 at 11050 proximity of alcoholic beverage establishments to other establishments and uses to require City Commission authorization of distance requirements for all alcoholic establishments in all zoning districts. 3, to amend Part 2 site plan regulations at Section 26550 off-street parking required on-street parking credit to amend the CRA form-based code parking credit requirements and to amend Section 265-100 design standards for residential parking spaces utilizing individual driveways or backup parking to correct a scrivener's error. 4, to amend the landscaping requirements in Section 275-90 for perimeter buffer landscaping requirements for vehicular use areas to eliminate landscaping requirements for city center. 5, to amend Part 3 special zoning districts CRA form-based zoning code at Section 30220 conditions of use to modify the two-family duplex dwelling minimum standards and to clarify a provision relating to pet supply stores. 6, to amend Article 303 district development standards 30350 the neighborhood mixed-use district to eliminate specific street references and amending Section 30390 neighborhood residential district to amend duplex lot dimensions and correct the article reference to architectural design standards. 7, to amend Part 6 Development Review Procedures, Article 610, Public Hearing Notices, 61015, Community Outreach to require the outreach be held no more than 60 days prior to the public hearing, to amend Article 635 Site Plans at Section 63540, Supplemental Application Requirements to require the electronic filing of plans. 9, to amend Article 655 Vacations of Right-of-Way at 65530, the application process to eliminate the requirement permit for replatting when vacating a right-of-way. And 10, to amend Part 8 entitled Technical Appendix at Section 830-40 definitions to remove reference to the city's landscape technical manual, providing for conflicts, codification, and effective date. This is a community development item, and I think I'm done.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, this is a second reading for these items, and I'll be happy to do the presentation again if you need me to go over it.
Oh, sorry. It's, I don't know, if somebody else wants the presentation, we're happy to have it, but I don't certainly need it.
You want to open the public hearing?
Yes, is there anyone who this is a public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to speak for or against this item? Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Let's move on to commission comments. Do I have a motion or discussion or anything? Commissioner Llewellyn?
Motion to approve item 12.2.
12.2. Commissioner Romoli?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. All right. Item 12.2 passes unanimously. And we will move on to item 13, discussion and possible action, which there are none. And we have several Housing Authority Board positions, and that one is not done by me. Planning and zoning, I do want to speak to the applicant that was, what's his name? Daryl Thomas, thank you. So I want to just speak with him directly, but I believe that will be my pick. So we'll confirm that the next meeting. All right, General Employees Pension Board Commission appointment. Commissioner Romoli.
Yeah, Mayor, regarding Jim Rizzo, I've spoken to him several times, and he does want to be reappointed if no one has any complaints.
He does want to be reappointed,
Yes, he
right?
does.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
So he wants to be reappointed. I have no objection. Anybody have any objection? Okay. All right, then let's move on to that. So I guess he will be the appointee. Allura, did you get that from Commissioner?
Yes, yes, we'll reach out to him and let him know that he's been reappointed to the board.
Perfect. Education and Advisory Board, do we have nominations for those positions? Anyone? Nope. Green Advisory Board? None. Marine Advisory Board? Sure. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you.
Are those appointments, are they connected to any of the commissioners, or is it just overall we make? Okay. I didn't know, so I'll keep my eyes open and ears open.
Yeah, these are just the alternate positions.
Okay.
So we just need alternate positions,
All right.
given that new ordinance, so it's a commission appointment.
I have several people who've talked about being on board, so I'll try to see if they're interested and have them apply, and then we can reconvene next meeting.
Okay, moving on. So Public Art Advisory Board, did we just do that?
No, we
Public Art Advisory alternate members, Dania Beach resident, and we have county resident, Corinne. Oh, hold on. Oh, you got it.
Sorry.
Okay. Go ahead.
So not so long ago, we appointed a new board. I think there were 4 positions that were appointed, and there was a staff report. We had a number of applicants, and we kind of ranked them. If you like, we could go through that ranking and go to the next Dania resident and the next county resident that was on that list as possible appointments.
Yeah, why don't you go through the list? Because I know there are certain people who came to us individually, but then I wanted to see what you guys said as the ranking and, see if they're the same maybe.
Okay, I'll provide those names to the city clerk.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have them.
Oh, Elora.
Trying to move this along. It's
I
hard
know.
for me too.
I know.
I want to fill the boards.
I know, you do such a good job with that. You really, really do. You really do. I appreciate it. I think we all do. We all appreciate you. All right, so let us move forward then with commission comments at this time. All right. Yeah, Commissioner Llewellyn.
Thank you, Mayor. Very, very briefly. I just want to say that the core meetings continue to be very good, and I'm glad that we're continuing to do them. We get a lot of really good resident feedback. This last one over in College Gardens area was very, very well attended, and people stayed and talked, and it was a really good group that came out. They usually are, but it was. I'm just glad to see that we continue to do them because they are very helpful, and I know we get a lot of things from them that we can address, so it helps a lot. Again, want to wish our friend Ralph a happy birthday, who turned 100, and thanks to our Chief Pelliser for putting that whole thing together and having the drive-by for on his actual birthday. I know the whole community appreciated it. The whole community came out. It was a really big group. I did have some sad news I wanted to pass along for those who did not know. We have a community member, Eileen Snyder, who lived over in the estates of Fort Lauderdale. She was here, she left, she came back with her family. She's been a community member for many, many years. She just passed away last week. Her brother Les is usually here in the audience, and we all know Les from the COP program. So anyway, it was fairly sudden for all of us, and I know he's been very emotional about it. So, and then the last thing I'm going to say is happy birthday, Eve, again, and owe you lunch. Anyway, all right, thank you. That's all I have. Have a good night.
Commissioner Romoli.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, I'd like to extend my condolences to Anna and her family for the loss of her mother. I had just spoken to her yesterday or maybe the day before, and she was with her mom in the hospital. And she seemed to be doing fine, and this comes as a great shock to me tonight, and I'm very sad for them, and I know how much they loved her. So Anna, if you're listening, we love you, and our hearts are with you. I also want to extend condolences to Leslie Keeves for the loss of his sister. As Commissioner Llewellyn said, Eileen was a card. She was so much fun. She's a terrific lady. They're a great family, and I'm going to miss her dearly. Last thing I have is I know we, as an entire commission, got an email from Mandy Bartle, President and CEO of South Florida Community Land Trust. They were talking about the opportunity for some of our residents in Dania Beach to get affordable housing. So I sent out a bunch of social media information, and I must have got 10 or 15 people that reached out to me. And I am super, super happy to say that I've been able to place 2 people in that affordable housing project, and I'm so psyched out about that.
Fantastic.
Each one of them were living in hotels day by day, and now they got affordable housing here in Dania Beach, and I'm super happy. And Mandy and her team are amazing, and we're still working on it, and hopefully I'll have a couple more people that we can put in there. So thank you very much, Mandy, and your team for all that you do, and for the 2 residents in Dania Beach now that has permanent housing, I'm really, really happy for them. And that's all. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Romoli. That's great news. Commissioner Ryan.
No comment. Thank you.
All right. Vice Mayor.
Thank you. I gotta clarify something to the commission and Eve, over our situation that we had tonight on our vote. Can you tell us what the next step would be on that negative vote towards the development? Because I'm still lost, and I want us all to understand. If you don't
Sure.
mind.
So there was no vote to pass, so it was therefore denied.
That means their project was denied, but it was an eligible project to build.
Yep.
And that means that if you deny an eligible project to build,
He's advised me that they're going to sue.
they're gonna what?
They're going to file an appeal.
Okay, so I just want to make it clear to the residents of Dania Beach that I voted no for it. And then when it comes back to the commission that you get sued along with my taxpayers' dollars, I'm not happy. I'm just making a point of that because going back to when I first got elected in 2014, and we had when the building all started, and we all started, everybody was there. They were all behind, my back when I was the mayor, and tell me, you can't do that, you can't vote that, you're gonna get sued, And I took a beating from all the residents, and I did the right thing. I voted, to let it go through. And as the things went on, everything turned out okay, but we didn't get sued. So now that we're gonna get sued, all of you have to look at yourselves and wonder when the taxpayers question you, what you're gonna say, and plus you defied your staff that gave it approval. So that's what my comments were, other than happy birthday. And I will call Anna personally, and happy birthday to everybody else. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Well, I will go on with things that may not be suable, but I will say that I am deeply disappointed when, you've taken your due diligence and hard work and worked extremely hard to bring something to fruition and to get community buy-in and community input, and you use your own intellectual property in order to bring something that is going to be beneficial for the residents. If it's not complete, it was not complete, and I did have to let that be known. But if this happened in a place of academia where you go and take someone else's paper and change a couple of words and turn it back in, it would be considered plagiarism and you would be expelled. And so I will be very vocal about my intellectual property, the work that I've put forward, and when I was ready to have commission input, then I will have that. But I voted for it, so then we can bring it back at any time, and I will continue to do that until we get rid of the toxicity. And so next, I want to go back and look at the different events that we had. We had a very successful Florida League of Cities Week where I participated on 2 different panels. And one of the panels that I participated was for city managers and mayors, and I want to thank the city manager for helping me to prepare for that panel, because a lot of the different things that we put together, and we had a little talk about it, I was able to present with one other mayor who was there for 37 years, and she was retiring, and she's a former president, Mayor Pat Bates, and she's an E. Drew Harris Award winner. And so it was just her and I on that panel, and we had 2 city managers, and then literally they said everything that you said when in preparation. So I want to thank you for helping me with that. I also want to thank staff for helping me with the next condominium panel that I will be on tomorrow. And so we just keep going and going and going. But I also attended Broward League of Cities Gold Coast Breakfast, where as the president of the league, then we hosted West Palm Beach and Miami-Dade, and we're talking pretty much like the school board, where we're going out and we're educating the entire county on Amendment 3. We are not advocating, but we are educating. So we have had the opportunity to bring in county officials, and we've also had an opportunity to present to the Greater Fort Lauderdale Chamber of Commerce Governmental Affairs Committee, where we educated them on the impacts, the potential impacts, and just talked about the education of Amendment 3. And at the end of their nonpartisan chamber meeting, they voted to oppose it. So we are getting around to different counties. We're doing different town halls, but our purpose is just to educate, not advocate, and let each and every informed visitor and every informed resident who goes into the booth be informed prior to making a decision on that very, very impactful, potentially impactful amendment. And so after that, what else did we do? I want to thank Commissioner Ryan for going around in our tradition, and we went to back to school, all of the schools together. We started at Olson. Olson looks absolutely amazing with the red shirts and the khaki pants, and they have new signage. They look amazing, and I look forward to continuing that partnership with our schools. I also was elected to be on the executive committee for the new president of the Florida League of Cities, and I was approved to be on the board for the Florida League of Mayors, and I continue my position on the board of the Florida League of Cities in general. And I want to say what a wonderful, wonderful, amazing time that I had with Bo and Mimi at their luncheon, where they're the only residents from Dania Beach to have been president of, Bo is the only president from the city of Dania Beach to represent the entire state of Florida. So with that, I am very proud of our residents. Oh, yeah, we did have another great State of the City, not State of the City, mayoral address with the chamber, and I really want to thank Randy and the team who came, everyone who came out to support us. It was a great event, and, we have a lot of things to celebrate, so there was a lot of good things that came out of that, and with that, good evening. Have a good night, everybody.
I have to go rescue my baby
upstairs. Happy birthday, Eve.